Anything pop up on your phone?
No. Yeah.
All right, go ahead and join and type something in.
Wait a minute, I got an ad. I can partially see you.
What do you mean partially?
It's not full screen.
You see how many people are joined in?
It says one.
Just you. So that means it's the screen here. I need to change the screen to full size. So video capture device.
I typed in on the chat, and I don't know if you gotta have a different window.
I can't see it. OBS supposedly, if you don't see your streams, try refreshing. Refresh.
Pentagore says I'm here.
All right, I can't type anything in. So can you type in, we're testing, trying to figure out how now to type into the stream. 0 views, content, chat rate.
I'll put, we're testing his new equipment.
So on that, it's configure video.
Mr. Fat said hi, peeps.
Yeah, just type in, we're still testing.
That's what I put. I put testing new equipment and trying to find the chat.
Ask them if they hear any audio. It says open studio now. Okay, now I see YouTube through the YouTube studio thing, and now I see chat. So now I got to figure out.
Pentagore said they hear the audio.
Now I need to figure out how to get the video to be full screen, guys.
And yes, we see you.
And by looking at the YouTube studio monitor, the lag seems to be a little bit larger or more than using just YouTube Studio. So guys, I'm using OBS for the first time ever. And I do see the chat, but now I need to figure out how to get what you all are seeing up to full screen. And that's going to be in the OBS. So this is a learning curve. I know we're here just to kind of chat, and we'll get right to the chat if I can get the picture to go full stream or full screen. I'm going to drag this over. I do see that there's a tremendous amount of lag. So basically, guys, I went out and I bought some new equipment. We have a Yamaha AG08 that you're now hopefully hearing some audio through. I'm still using a camera. Well, I'm using a new camera. I'm using a Mevo. And we do actually have a microphone in the Nevo camera.
You gotta remember, you're on an hour earlier than expected.
Yeah, normally I'm on about an hour later. So this guys is just us testing the stream before the live stream goes on tonight. I'm sure in OBS I could have set it up as private somehow, but being that I don't know what I'm doing, I had to configure everything in OBS and not YouTube Studio. So in YouTube Studio, I could have streamed private, and we could have done it privately without the viewers actually being able to see it. But I guess part of the fun of doing a live stream like this is showing you guys I'm learning just like you all. I mean, yeah, I'm a guitar tech, I'm a musician, but I really want to take the live streams to the next level. I know the video quality was really, really bad the first 3 streams. So the video quality should be much better this time around. Now in OBS, I did have to select 286 or 246 on video and not a different configuration. It seems like my NVIDIA video card would not allow me to use the higher resolution on the output format, whatever code that OBS wanted to use. So I had to switch it to this X246. So I don't know if that has downgraded the video quality or not, but it still should be better than using my old Logitech microphone camera. You guys can put something in there and let me know if the video is better this time. Let me acknowledge everybody. I see I got Mr. Fats. I'm really bad at pronunciations. This is it Penamore? Penagore? And then we also have Jerry just came in, and Time Surfing Alien. I haven't seen a post from Time Surfing Alien in a while. That's pretty cool.
He said your wood grain in the floor is popping. Jerry did.
Yeah, I'm going to say the wood grain on the floor, that's probably going to be something in my camera settings. Really, like I said, we're just trying this for the first time. So I left all the stock camera settings as far as the white balance, all that stuff is stock. Whatever the Mevo is sending to OBS, all the settings in OBS are stock. I have not made any adjustments in white balance or anything like that. I did tweak the volume up from 100 to 110%. And the issue that I'm having right now, and the reason I wanted to make sure that I'm not too low or too loud, it seems like this right here is the microphone we're using. This is a SM57. It's actually an instrument mic, but this is the microphone, and I'm still using the microphone in the Mevo. The SM57 is going to the Yamaha. Now in OBS, I do have 2, I guess, like fake mixers, okay, where you can adjust the sliders. It seems like even though when I talk closer into this mic and I get gain, and I unplug the mic, it goes away, okay? So I can have this source and the source from the Mevo. But as soon as I turn the audio off, the built-in microphone off in the Mevo, I also lose the SM57. I'm really don't know why it's doing that. There's a setting, something I'm missing. If anyone has any experience with OBS, you can type in the chat and we can figure this thing out together. And since the camera is it's on an old boom stand that I used when I played out live, it's got a little pick thing on it. I really can't move the camera to show you the Yamaha, and it would kind of, well, it would be very jerky because I'd be holding it, by my hand. So the Yamaha is right here to my left on the table. And then the output from that is also going over to my Mackie, but I have the monitor turned off so we don't get a feedback loop. And that's pretty much the setup right now. I did not have time to put another microphone in front of the guitar amp. And then if you look here, I had a little accident at work on Friday with my finger. My plan was to get the amplifier going and fix the live stream. Not last show, but the show before that. We tried to play some live guitar, and the built-in streaming camera that I was using must have had a default gate. I couldn't turn that off through Windows, or I didn't know how. So I couldn't resolve that issue. But with the Yamaha, I can come in on another mic channel and bring that channel up, and you should be able to, well, we should be able to fix that issue. It's not going to happen tonight, but hopefully each live stream will get a little better. Let me look over here at the chat and see what you guys are talking about. Okay, Jerry. Jerry says it looks and sounds fine to me. There does seem to be a really huge delay. It's going to take me a little while to get used to the delay. More delay than if I was just using YouTube Studio. What I mean by that, if I speak right now, you guys won't hear that. It looks like it's like 12 seconds later. There seems to be a little buffering delay there. And Daniel's got a comment here. It just literally popped up. Personally, if you like make the video higher res, I doubt I could tell the difference. So far, it's good to me. Does it look better than the last stream? That's the key. Does the audio sound better, and does the video sound better? That's what we're shooting for. Just a little bit better quality, take some baby steps, and get the live stream looking and sounding better. And I'm sure it'll take a delay for you guys to be able to type in and actually hear what I just said. So I'm looking at the chat. I don't see anyone has made a comment. Jerry just typed in yes. So I assume he's saying the video and audio is better. That's cool. And I know some people do use the SM57 for vocals. It's a pretty versatile mic. When I've played professionally, we use the SM57 pretty much on everything other than the kick drum. Bass guitar, rhythm guitar, lead guitar, toms, cymbals. Now we did have a special mic for the kick drum. And then we used the SM58 on all the vocal mics. So I know it's a good instrument mic, but I also know some singers that use the 57. So hopefully it's working pretty good. Again, I think what you're hearing is a combination between the 57 and the Mevo mic, because when I turn off the built-in camera in the Mevo, I seem to be losing the 57 in OBS. So I don't know how many people have experience with that. Like I said, I'm just trying to get the channel a little bit better. If you guys watched my last video, I apologize. I work a lot of hours, and I've been trying to really do more on YouTube. I took a little bit of a break. So with editing that, it took about 6 days. And I really wanted to get that video out before the live stream, and I didn't have time to go back and view the video after editing. I already know what happened. In my editing software, the window is so small, and when I shift the video forward in time to put the beginning opening in, I must have not drugged something right, or something didn't move right. That's why there's a black spot in the video. There's some sync errors. So the overlapping frames got out of whack. I would have caught that if I would have went back, viewed the video before I uploaded it to YouTube. Now, I said I was going to take that video down, and I am. I'm going to take the video down. I do want the video to be right, but I wanted the viewers and the subscribers to at least have the opportunity to look at that review, especially the subscriber that sent me the guitar. He's been waiting for a while on just the review, and I wanted to make sure it got uploaded. But for in the future, anyone that clicks on the video, I do want the video to be right. I do take pride in having decent production in the video itself. So I'll make that change, and I'll make that fix. We'll re-upload that video, and then I still have to do the recording on the guitar. And I've got the guitar right here. So here's the guitar. So on the next video, we're going to do final thoughts, and then we're going to do the demo section. We're going to do some clean, some dirt, and some high gain. And I can already tell you guys, if you guys are on the fence on buying this particular model with the new Alnico 5 pickups, they're mean. If you like high gain, let's say hair music, I'm not going to say that it's going to play some of the new death metal stuff, but these pickups, for me, I've been picking this guitar up quite a bit since I did the unboxing. I'm not going to say that it sounds like my Kramer, because the Kramer has Seymour Duncan JBs in it. These pickups, I'm going to say, even though the readings were lower than what the JBs do, especially the neck pickup was really low as far as the ohms and the Henrys. But there's something about it. It's almost like the old PAF sound from the lower output Gibsons. I guess what I'm trying to say, sometimes we can't necessarily look at the ohm readings of pickups. You take the Henrys and the ohms, and once you get familiar with what the readings are telling you, you get an idea of what the pickup should sound like. Ohms alone really don't tell you much. But even that being said, with the readings that I got on this guitar, it's very surprising what the guitar sounds like on a high gain setting. This is probably my favorite Firefly that I've received to date as far as the tone that guitar produces in the high gain channel. It is mean sounding, and the harmonics come through beautifully. The pinch harmonics, even when I hurt my finger, so I really can't play, but when you bring your hand forward and you do the harmonic sweep like this guitar just really does those things really well. And I've noticed that with Les Pauls. I don't know if it's the bridge configuration, but they seem to be a little more harmonically friendly, if that's a word. This guitar does that. And at this price point, I'm leaning to say, now as far as the look, I'm not going to say it's my favorite. But as far as the way it plays and the way it makes me play, I like playing hair music. This might be my favorite Firefly to date so far. I do like the purple and black one as far as the looks and the access cut back here more so than this one, because this one's got the standard set neck. But as far as sound and the way, you can have a guitar that feels really good, but if it doesn't have that sound, it's almost like it isn't making you play it. This guitar has a sound that it makes me want to play it. So I've been reaching for it a lot. I'm liking this guitar. And it's a shame I didn't buy it, and when I'm done with the review, I got to send it back. But maybe they'll have this guitar come back up on Guitar Gardens and I can pick one up. Let me put it back on the stand. Now I came prepared this week. My significant other made me hot cocoa, so as I'm talking so much, I can at least have something to drink and keep my throat at ease. Let me get caught up on the chat here. And you guys, the whole point in this is you guys just chat amongst yourselves and I'll just ramble in the background. I guess that's the best way we can do it. Let's see. Looks and sounds fine to me, Jerry says. Personally, if you make the video higher res, I've already read those, yes. Jerry, it's cool. At least the main message came across, but I understand. Yeah, he's talking about the video itself. I did the best I could with the time that I have. And a lot of YouTubers would say, don't release the video until it's right. You know, there's a side of me that that says that as well. The video needs to be right. You guys are patient, and I should work and become better at it. But at the same token, I did want to get the video out because I said it was going to be released. And since I had already taken a 2-month break, I didn't want to turn around and miss the video for that week. So hopefully I can get a little better. And there was a comment in the video. Someone made a comment that I changed camera angles too much. And it's funny that that comment come up, because as I was editing the video, I was like, this is kind of getting ridiculous. I'm saying 3 or 4 words and I'm changing camera angles, and I don't even realize I'm doing it when I'm talking. I set one camera here, and I kind of set basically where my hands are, and I face the other direction, and you guys kind of see what's behind the camera right now in the videos. You're seeing the opposite end of the room. So I constantly just look at this camera, then I look at this camera, then I look at this camera, or I have 2 cameras set up and an overhead. And sometimes I'll forget that it's an overhead and I'll look up. And if you go back and look at my videos, you'll see me looking up at the ceiling. That's because I forget that it's an overhead. And it really can't see me. It's kind of looking down on the guitar. And I'm still learning. So hopefully, as we move along, I can get a little better. And now that I have the Mevos working, because I've actually had these cameras for over a year, and when I first purchased them, they would only go live and work through a cell phone app. And when I called Sweetwater and was wanting to get the AG08, the guy there, I told him I had the Mevos, and I didn't need necessarily an interface deck that would also do cameras, that I was using the GoPros. And he had told me that Mevo had made an update to allow me to connect the camera directly to the computer. Now, I have successfully done that with 1 camera. The point in the Mevos were to have 3 cameras, and you could literally push a button and the camera would change. And I did see that in OBS, where you can set up a predetermined fade. Now, the better half was standing there, so that means someone has typed something in that I've missed.
I think it's Jerry. He said something would be nice for you to explain Henry's and how to test and read them.
Okay, on Henry's, that is something, Jerry, you have to buy a special meter. And it'll say, I don't think I still have my meter up here. I may need to go downstairs and get it. But if you look at the dial on the meter, what you're looking for is 2H, 20H, 200H. In the UK, they call it Henry's. In the United States, I don't know what the actual term is, but it's another divisible of what the output is on the pickup. So it's not a resistance reading. I don't really know. Isn't that sad? I don't really know how it's doing it. Like ohms, it's calculating the resistance. On Henry's, it's most likely something to do with resistance or output. It can't be output because you're not really supplying a voltage to the guitar. It's only seeing the 9-volt power source from the multimeter itself. But I will tell you when I don't really know. That might be something that you can type in YouTube. I just know your Henry readings are usually 1/3. It's a much lower reading. You're not going to see 16, 17 Henrys on your output stage. But you'll start to get a feel. If you have something that's reading like 3 or 4 on 20H, that means that's going to be an extremely bitey pickup. I guess that's the best way of putting it. It's going to have a tremendous amount of bite, but also when the Henry's goes really high like that, and you have, let's say your ohms comes up, let's say your bridge comes in at 14. No, it's the larger meter, hon.
Then it must be over there. In the drawer.
It might be in the drawer. I don't remember where I put it, or I would have. I thought I took it downstairs. It's in like a case that unzips. She's actually going down trying to find the meter now. But if your Henrys are above, I'd say 3 or 4, it's going to have a lot of attack. I don't know if Mike is in the chat. Mike is our channel moderator. He's actually, if you guys don't know it, Mike is an extremely talented amplifier modder and service guy. Now, if you need your amp fixed or you're having a problem with tube selection or wanting to change tubes, he's really good at modifying circuits to change your output tubes or modifying Marshalls. He's super talented. Mike could give us the exact, what are the Henrys reading. I don't see Mike in the chat, so that's a shame. And that's also why I posted in one of the community sections that I needed moderators. And no one's really typed anything in the community section saying, hey, yeah, I'd like to help out the channel. I can do this, or I can do that, or I can be a moderator. We're just trying to grow. Mike is busy like me, so for him to set aside a night a week just for a live stream or every time we do a premiere, it's pretty difficult for him.
I'll still be over there.
Yeah, give me a second, guys. I want to check the drawer and just to see if the tester is in the drawer. Yeah, it's sitting up here. Now I feel bad because she went down in the basement looking for it, and it was literally just sitting right over there on top of the cabinet. So this is the tester that I have, and I'll try to put it up so you guys can see it, a really nice close view of it. And I know Amazon has this tester. So it's a Proster, and it's a BM4070. And you can see right here, now this one reads 2H and 20H. So on this setting right here, 20H, that's going to check your Henrys. And basically all it does is when you change to 2H, it's going to change the decimal place. But in the guitar world, you want to set it to 20H. And it's going to read like 3 point or 2 point or 1.56. If it's reading double digits, you have it on the wrong setting. Or someone's really wound a really wild pickup. And then, of course, everyone knows the ohms, a little omega symbol. So you're going to set that one again on 20 for your ohms checks. And that's the meter I use. It's been a good meter. In my professional life, I have a Fluke. I think it's a 186 Mach 3. It was like $400. I use it at work to test loads and stuff on panels. But for doing guitar work and testing capacitors and stuff like that, this little meter pretty much does anything we need just working on guitars. If you're doing amplifiers and stuff, you're going to need an O-scope and other things that's way above what I understand. That's why if you guys have the opportunity to talk to Mike in the chat or even in some of the videos that we've released, you'll see Mike. It'll be a little blue wrench next to it. Pick Mike's brain. I do know Mike does have a YouTube channel. He's made custom pedals, distortion pedals, reverb pedals, a bunch of other stuff. He's done like amp modeling pedals, but it's not a digital modeler. It's more like a tube screamer, Marshall screamer. His pedals are pretty cool. And like I said, he also modifies amps. So pick Mike's brain and he can definitely help you out with that. Put this back up on the table here. And I'm going to take a little drink, and I see the chat's moving. Time Surfing Alien says, Guitar Max just pulled out a video on the SBS guitars. I've seen SBS, and I've almost ordered one of their guitars twice. It really comes down to what you guys want to see. I'm thinking about ordering another guitar, and the only reason I haven't is I have a Jackson here to review. I have a Squire to review. Now, we're just talking budget guitars. I do have a new Squire and a new Jackson to review. And I really need to get those reviews done before I bring something else in. But something that caught my eye, eArt now has another guitar out. And I don't know if y'all remember, about 3 years ago, eArt made a high-end guitar called an Explorer. It did not look like a Gibson Explorer. It looked like a Super Strat or an offset Super Strat, where the bottom of the Strat was kind of skewed, almost like a Vandenberg without the bow cutaways, with the side chamfers done like an Ibanez, very crisp, very blocky. They have that guitar back on Amazon now with active pickups for under $400. Is that really a budget guitar? I'm going to say yes, because it has active electronics. If the guitar is like most eArts, the fretwork on eArt is usually very, very good. So if you take a good neck and you put really good electronics in it, active electronics, for I think it's $389. For $389, that's a good buy. And it only comes in like white, and then they have a black, but it looks like a speckle black. There's some gray and black in it. I don't have the model number directly in front of me. I was thinking about ordering that guitar. The thing of it is, I need to be able to resell the guitar. So I've been waiting for subscribers to chime in and say, hey, I'm thinking about purchasing this guitar. If you do a review on it, I can work something out. You do a setup, I'll set the guitar up, and I'll send it to them. And of course, then they're funding the guitar, and that's it. I'm pretty much doing the review and the setup for free. That's how I've been doing it in the past. And I have done that a couple times. The other way I could do it is I just purchase the guitar myself, and then if the video does okay or whatever, I might keep it, and then I sell off the guitar 2 or 3 months later on Marketplace. I don't use Reverb. I don't use eBay, just simply because of the fees. They just kill you. The fees kill you. Well, especially Reverb, and eBay is almost 15% now. So it's really hard to do that. So I know you guys like the guitars. So if there's enough interest in it, and I think someone on the channel would purchase it, we'll do an eArt, or we'll do an SBS. I think that's Brown Sound or something is SBS. I think that's, who knows the actual technical name of SBS. And I'm going to get caught up on the chat again. Looks like Time Surfing Alien and Jerry's got an interaction going on. And I do see Bryce has joined the channel as well. Good to see you, Bryce. And I'm just now kind of getting used to the OBS. I do have an OBS window that's telling me we got 12 people in the chat. It just went to 11. So I don't know how far behind or forward that is compared to what you all are seeing. So what's everyone up to now? Since I don't actually have the microphone set up with the guitar amp, and I've also hurt my finger, so I can't play this week. That was another drawback. Since I hurt my finger, it's gonna hurt the demo part of the Firefly. I may end up having to do an open box on the Yamaha AG08 and some other things before I actually can do the review. It's pretty bad, guys. I took a pretty big chunk right out of the main finger that we play bar chords with, or the D, the G. This is a pretty important finger, and it's literally right on the bottom right here. I got it pretty good. I was able to fold the skin back over on it, push it in and wrap it, but I think it's going to take about 2 weeks before I'm really able to play again. And I'm thankful it wasn't worse. It could have been much worse. So it'll heal up and I'll be back playing in no time. So in the meantime, we may have to do some other type of reviews, something that I don't have to play. And that brings us to the next part. Now we've went over the AG08. We've went over the new microphone. Things that I did not get to hooking up. And the stuff that I have hooked up right now isn't technically all correct, but it is working. And before I keep adding more stuff to it, I'll figure this stuff out and then we'll take it to the next step. But since you guys are here, I'll show you what else has come in. And if you're up on the community page, you've seen this guy. This is our DBX. Now in my rack over here, if you watch the videos, the first rack that has the mixing board on it, I do have 4 tube mic preamps, and I have 4 DBX Project 1 compressor limiters. I no longer have my de-essers and stuff like that when I played professionally. The equipment was split up when the band stopped playing together. I ended up with the amplifiers and half the rack mount equipment. So some of the equipment I didn't keep. I didn't keep the bass bins, the woofers, the mid bins, or the horns. I didn't keep any of the floor monitors, pretty much the mic stands. There was quite a bit that wasn't mine, but as a group we had everything we needed. Even though I have the Project 1 DBX units, they're compressor limiters. They're not really de-essers. And this unit will take the sharpness off the T, take the S out. And it actually has an aerial exciter, almost like a BBE. It's a much simpler version of the BBE Sonic Maximizer. But since it's kind of a one-stop shop on the DBX, I figured I would give this one a shot. We'll see. I want to try to keep it simple, and this will be a good simple. Instead of having 4 different pieces of rack mount gear running the mic through, it's kind of a one-stop shop. Mic goes into it. It goes right into the Yamaha, which is also my interface to the computer. Try to keep it simple. The next thing I got, since I do have 3 Mevo cameras, got this little guy. And from what my Sweetwater tech told me, now he could have just been selling me dreams, but evidently this thing has some buttons on it, and you can pre-program these buttons to do particular actions. Like in OBS, if you have multiple cameras, there's a predetermined fade. So let's say I could have camera 1 on the first button. I could just reach over, push a button. It's going to switch camera angles to the second camera. And then all your predetermined fades and everything would be in there. And then anything else. Like right now, I was talking about the E-Art guitar that I was thinking about ordering earlier. I should be able to set up one of these buttons to where I can switch the camera angle over to what I see on the computer. And we'll be able to go to Amazon or Sweetwater and actually look at a product, whether it's in the chat that you guys want to talk about or anything else. I should be able to open up a web browser, and then everyone watching the chat should be able to do it. Now, granted, what I'm talking about is probably going to be a couple months down the road, because I am just learning all this stuff. But I did want to get everything hooked up and then gradually add features as I become more and more comfortable with the equipment. I didn't have a large budget, so the equipment that I bought is budget friendly for what the channel is doing. It's probably over what a channel of this size really needs. But I'm a firm believer, if you're going to purchase something and you know you're going to be using it, don't buy something that's going to get you by. At least buy something that is a solid product. That's why I bought the Yamaha. It's a name brand. Yamaha makes good stuff. I have a Yamaha P5000 power amplifier over here. That thing ran 4 hours a night, 3 nights a week for 5 or 6 straight years, just being thrown in the van, thrown into the bar, cranked up, just abused with feedback. And really the only thing I've had to do with it is the gain pot about a year and a half ago started failing. You would move it and it would just drop out. And I took it to my local tech and they put 2 new potentiometers in the gain potentiometers, and it's back up to new. It's a great amplifier, Yamaha. If you're playing out and you need 5,000 watts, it's a lot of power. But the point of 5,000 watts, you only need a third of that. So if you're only using a third of its power, it's going to be clean power. You're not pushing the amplifier. I think the most I ever used on that amplifier was about 50%. It ran our woofer bins or bass bins. And then I had 2 Hafler DH500s that we ran our JBL sub bins off. Each Hafler 500 Pro was mono blocked to 800 watts. And then that 800 watts just ran 2 18-inch JBLs. I know what you're saying, 800 watts probably isn't enough. Hafler really underrated their amplifiers back in the day, back when they were tank amplifiers. So I had the 2 Haflers running the sub bins, and then the one Yamaha ran both of the woofer bins, and it worked good. But my point of it is, if you buy decent stuff, you usually don't have to repurchase it. It's going to last you a very long time. It's going to get you through, we're talking when I was playing out live, I was in my 20s. Not showing my age, but I'm in my 50s now, and I still have pretty much everything that I had back then. I've just continuously added and added and added. And people look, man, you got a lot of equipment. You got to come down to, if you sell something, and the big thing with guitar players are amplifiers. If you have a nice amp and you fell in love with that amp, and 2 or 3 years later you're kind of like, I want something new. You sell your JCM 800 or your Fender Princeton or whatever it may be. You may have a Mesa Boogie or an old school VHT or something. You sell it. Are you going to be able to repurchase that amp 2 years down the road for what you're selling it for? Are you going to miss that amplifier? So I always really look at my equipment and go, no, I really haven't used that in 2 or 3 years. But if I sell it, if I really want that, am I going to miss it? I got an SWR amp over here. SWR is no longer in business. I play bass as well. And that amplifier probably really hasn't been used in probably 8 years. The last time I turned it on was probably a year ago. I've been meaning to put new strings on my bass and just haven't done it. But I'm not going to sell my SWR just because I'm not really playing bass anymore. I'm going to get an itch one day and I'm just going to run in there, I'm going to grab my bass, I'm going to put the new strings on, and I'm going to be a bass freak for probably 2 or 3 weeks because I love bass. I just haven't been playing it that often. And we got to remember why we started playing music, because it's fun. We love it. Whether it's guitar, keyboards, bass, whatever it is, just because you're not necessarily using that piece of equipment, think before you sell it. Now, I'll stop the rant there, but that's the reason I have so much stuff. Is I really, sometimes it's just like, if I sell that, can I replace it in 5 years if I really want to keep it? I'm going to go back to the chat here. And Jerry is just talking up a storm. So I don't know if it's something that I need to go back and look at, or if him and Time Surfing Alien are just having a ball in here tonight. I see the word finger So he must be talking about my bad finger.
Yeah, he said, damn it, why'd you do that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jerry. Uh, as soon as I did it, I knew it was bad. You ever have that moment? It's like, one, your brain goes, I'm going to feel that, and then you feel it. Well, that's what I did. And as soon as I felt it, I was like, wow, that really hurts. It almost brought tears to my eyes. It hurt so bad. I actually sat down for about 15 minutes as the electrician kind of doctored me up with peroxide and a Band-Aid. But that's a good thing. The people I work with are pretty good. They let me sit down and made sure it wasn't bad to where I had to go to the hospital and get stitches. Since it's more of a gouge and a scoop, I don't really think the hospital could do stitches. Most likely what they would have done, they would have pushed it in. They would have put one of the pieces of fabric over it and then the CA glue trick. I don't know if they could have stitched that or not. But we'll see. I haven't removed, well, I did remove the bandage yesterday and I poured peroxide on it and put a new one on. And then, of course, then I had to wrap it in tape because it wanted to come off. So I'll have to redress it tonight and make sure that it's not getting infected. But should be about 2 weeks and I should be fine. Yeah, I feel like I didn't do it, I don't think, in the last couple of videos, Jerry, as far as my Amazon links. I'll be honest with you. I do put links to the products I use, and I do use Amazon.
He thought you abandoned the channel.
Yeah. I don't. I think since I started using Amazon, I've probably made maybe $100 on Amazon links. It's kind of funny how Amazon works on the percentage. They have different categories, and that's not to say not to use Amazon links. Here's the trick that a lot of people won't tell you about Amazon. If you go to one of my videos and you click on one of my links, you don't have to buy it. You don't even have to buy anything on that visit. Amazon remembers that you used my link to get there. And I think it's 2 or 3 days. It could be a little longer. I do know that it goes past. So if you buy a necklace, or some people buy food on Amazon, even if you buy that food or oil or whatever that you're buying, if you used my link and you go back the next day, odds are I will get 1%, something like that, of whatever you purchase. I've made more money on Amazon. Like I said, it's got to be under $150. Most of the money that I've made on Amazon have come from that, and not necessarily the products. It does tell me. I have sold like my feeler, the fret leveler, the fret gauge, and a couple of little things. I think the fret guru that I had a link to, I think a couple people bought those. A couple other things. So I have sold a couple little products here and there. And I see the chat moving again.
I told you happy early birthday.
Oh,
Says he hits 56 in 6 days.
well, happy birthday there, Mr. Jerry. You've got me by 2 years. Yep, 2 years. So, it's all good, man. We're playing guitar and loving life. That's what it's about. All right, I think we're pretty much caught up on the chat. Like I said, guys, I didn't even go and figure out how to get the window bigger in OBS. So you guys are looking at this little tiny screen with this blue thing around it. I will figure that out before the next live stream. It's probably something to do in the camera settings in OBS. Well, I know it is. I just need to figure it out. And it could be it's set up that way to where I can have different screens or scenes in OBS. So I'm thinking it's set up in OBS to where maybe the upper right-hand corner, I can have maybe the Amazon page show up or something across the bottom to where when you click in it, it doesn't completely close off the video stream and allows me to post something else up there for you guys to see. I don't know yet. I've got to learn the software. So what's everyone been doing? What's the topic for this week? I'm going to let you guys steer the show. And I don't really see how many people are in the chat. What I see on OBS, it says concurrent viewers 12. So I'm assuming there's 12 people watching. It's only giving me a 1 on the chat rate. I have no idea what that means. It says 60 views. And average view duration as of right now is 8.08 minutes. And then over on the right-hand side, it has chat rate and views. Yeah, that's pretty much all it tells me. There is a warning on my screen, and it says the stream's bit rate is 2,602.86 kbps, lower than recommended. So most likely that's because my little one is in there playing Xbox and stealing all the bandwidth. I'm going to blame her. So if it fails, we may end up having to turn the circuit breaker off on the Xbox. It got quiet in her room really quick. I wouldn't do that. So basically I have a connection, and it's just telling me that the bandwidth is, I'm really close to using too much bandwidth. And we do have Linnell in the kitchen on a computer, and then, like I said, I've got my little one playing Xbox in there. So it hasn't crashed yet, so we're doing good. And OBS Project has a forum that can possibly make quick work of your issues. Yes, that's something I did not have time to really go and investigate. Like I said, this is the first time that I've used it. And to give you an idea, in OBS, there's a button that says Go Live. Well, I clicked on it the first time, and it said the main server was not available. So I had to log in to Google, through OBS. So once Google sent me, yes, is it you? And on my phone, probably 5 times where I had to click, yes, it's me, yes, it's me, yes, it's me, and enter in my email and my password 5 or 6 times. Once I got all that straight, I hit stream, and then it come up, are you sure you want to stream? I'm like, yeah, let's do a test stream. I hit the button, it said main server failure, needs, it was something to do with a stream code. So I didn't have the stream code from YouTube to put into OBS. So then I'm like, well, if I go to YouTube and I do the live stream through YouTube Studio, then I'm not using OBS. So how do I get a stream code from YouTube but still activate it in OBS? So I went to YouTube, I created a new stream in the YouTube window. It gave me a stream code. Then I went back to OBS, and at this point, it asked me to re-log in. Then it sent me another code on the phone. I got it all set up to do it, and then it said driver issue. My NVIDIA video card was not capable of doing something with the output of OBS. So I had to switch it to X24 something to get it to actually work, which I didn't know it was going to work, but I assumed it would work on that setting. So I did switch it. Guess what? I had to go back to YouTube, start another stream thingy, go back into OBS, and yes, it asked me to log all back in again. It sent me a code on the thing. Then when it popped up this time, when I hit it, it went live. So it literally took me probably 40 minutes. Once I had the mics and the cameras working, it took me 45 minutes to actually figure out how to get OBS to actually stream to YouTube. So what I'm seeing now is I got to get the chat window a little better, and I got to get the actual camera a little better. But all in all, as long as the video quality is good and the sound is good, I'm okay with it. That means that we've went the right direction. That's all. I've got 3 projects I'm still looking at, so I won't be picking up anything else soon unless it's a tube amp. I like tube amps. Just saying, I like tube amps. That's repeatable without parts costing as much as an amp or more. You know, I've got an amp. I don't know if it shows up right here, the green Black Star. And I think I mentioned it before. Something's happened to it. And I've taken it to my local guy that I just spoke about that fixed my Yamaha, and he won't work on it. There's some kind of micro components in there, and he says, I'm not going to work on it. Those things are just, the parts are too small, and it takes so much specialty stuff to work on them. He said no. And then I found a guy down in Richmond that would work on it, and he was like, most likely it's going to need a whole board. I'm like, and a board $600. It's $1,000 amp. I'm not going to fix it. That's my thoughts right now. I'm not going to fix it. So I get the point on spending more money. I like tube amps, but I think on tubes, the way these new amplifiers are made with the PC boards, they're trying to mix computer components with a hot tube. And I don't understand why more manufacturers don't separate the tube part and get it away from the other part of the board. It wouldn't be hard to do. And I've thought about it when you buy a new amp and you see the tube sockets made into the printed circuit board, go out and get a tube insert with the pins, plug it into the board, use wires that go up to a separate plate with new tube sockets. Get your tubes away from the main board. The heat destroys the boards. My ART SGX 2000 is made that way. It's pretty much a computer inside. But on the right-hand side, there's a steel wall with a fan. Okay, all the computer stuff's over here. Well, actually, it's on the left. And then there's the other side is the tubes. And it's all hand-wired on the tube section. And then when it comes through that wall, then it goes over to the process side. But all the potentiometers, the tubes, all that is just standard wiring. And then it has a separate board with a ribbon that goes through into the other cavity. So there's one spot that can cause a problem. They have it separated. And there's fans keeping the electronic computer part cool. And there's heat sinks on the tube side. You know, the tubes themselves are in their own little box, so they just sit in there and bake. But the other section has heat sinks. So it's 30 years old and it hasn't failed. So when someone says they can't do it, it's not that they can't do it. They can build stuff like that and make it last. It just doesn't seem like these new manufacturers like Blackstar have longevity in their vocabulary. That amp is just, when I took it apart and looked at it, it just doesn't look like the engineer took the time to really think out. The tubes are underneath like this, then the board's here, so heat rises. So all the heat from the tubes just rise and bake the computer board in the bottom of the amp. All they'd have to do is just flip it, put the tubes in the very top, have the board in the bottom, but it's not made that way. All the heat goes right into the bottom of the amp. Not saying that's what caused the failure, but the amp's only 1.5 years old. $1,000 amp, it needs to last longer than the warranty period. They give you a 1-year warranty. Well, it made it through warranty to 1.5 years and then broke. Am I going to buy another Blackstar product? I don't know. I know that this one failed. That doesn't mean they're all going to fail. I've just got a really bad taste in my mouth after spending $1,000 and having that happen, especially since the amp really wasn't used that much. It was more bought for the reviews here on the channel. That way I could just plug into a basic tube amplifier instead of a rack system. It just didn't seem to hold up for me. And the next comment is, I think you're doing good for starting from scratch. And shout out to you, your significant other, for taking to find out the meter earlier. That's awesome. Yeah, I have a really good significant other. I've said that many times. She takes care of me. And that's the reason why I have what I have. She allows me to have my toys. She's good to me. I know some gentlemen. Well, I also know some gentlemen that are bad towards their women on not letting them do anything. You know, you gotta. It's give take, guys. If you want a decent one, you gotta give a little to them. They give a little to you. It's got to be fair. If that makes sense. I try to be fair. But I do think that I get the better end of the stick, if you know what I mean. All right, guys. I don't know how long we've been on tonight, but I don't know if you guys want to end the stream or if there's some topic that you guys want to go over. I'm going to give it a second here, and I'm going to go in, let you guys chat. I do need to get something to drink because evidently I have been talking quite a bit. And this was just going to be a test stream. I didn't even plan on it going this long. So let me go get something to drink real quick, and I'll let you guys discuss the next topic. And she just said she's got it. So I technically still have some cocoa, but it's gotten cold from me yakking. Ha! Jerry, you know what's funny about that? I literally just picked him up. Jerry said that he was a smoker for years. So his little detector went off. He goes, I know what he's really doing. He's not going into the kitchen to get a drink. He's going to go in there and smoke a cigarette. I know Jerry's little smoker detector went off. He's got a good one, evidently. That's pretty funny. Hey, hon, can you grab this one? Thank you, baby. Okay, Rain, I try to do a stream once a week. That's what the channel has been trying to do. And the big part of the streams, I don't know if my tea glass is showing up in the camera. It is, isn't it? What I'm trying to do, so you know, I don't want to be like everyone else's channel. I really want, the channel here is about product information, and we're all guitar players. We love playing. I want more of an interactive stream. I want everyone to come in here and be able to talk. If you had a bad week, you can vent. I don't care. Just be nice to one another. You know, we can talk about products. Like pretty much the whole beginning part of the stream, we were talking about the products that I've purchased the last 2 weeks to try to help the stream. Better camera, better this, better that. But I'm also telling you guys the struggle that I had getting it to work. And I try to do the exact same thing when I review instruments or products. Is it user-friendly? So far, I'm not going to say anything that I just bought is not user-friendly. It's just my lack of knowledge on the products. So we do the stream once a week. But every week, I want to shoot for a goal to where we get a little better, get more people to know that we are doing the stream. And then each week we'll pick a direction that the stream is actually going to go. Are we going to talk about gear? This week we've just been talking about the live stream. And being that the video is only covering one part of the screen. Next week I'll get it to where it covers the whole screen and maybe be able to get the Yamaha up and going. We can play some music as well. But this week we got a better microphone and a better camera, and OBS is up and running. So at this point we have the basics, and hopefully the basic setup here is better than the last 3 streams, and that's what I'm shooting for. As far as the stream itself, it's whatever you guys want to make it be. It's just like the chat in all my videos. I want you guys to be able to come in, voice your opinion, and be just like me. You guys have an opinion. Your opinion is just as good as my opinion. If you pick up a guitar and you hate it because of this, this, and this, and this, there's someone else out there just like you that has that same feel or wants that same feel or is thinking about that guitar, and you might go, well, it felt like this to me, and it may click with somebody else. It's not about me agreeing with it. It's about us as a community helping one another out. And that's the direction I want to take the stream. And we want to try to do it once a week. And we've been doing it on Saturday nights simply because I know other streamers, to my knowledge that I watch, I don't think they do anything on Saturday night. I know Wednesday night is taken. I'm pretty sure Thursday night's taken. I know Friday night's taken. And this is just by people that I watch or people that I think knows about my channel. And I'm trying to be respectful to them. And there's probably 50,000 different streams going on tonight, guitar or music related. I don't really know their channels. So it's nothing against them. It just seems like my viewers, seems like this is kind of an open window for them. And I see the significant others come out.
I think it's Jerry. He wants to know, when you sell gear, do you only sell locally?
Normally, Jerry, I do. Normally, let me light my actual cigarette. Normally, I do sell locally. Now, there was a gentleman, what's his name's name that we did the purple Strat for? Don't remember his name. He was a super nice guy. I had the purple Strat, and he sent me an email saying, hey, if you still got the purple Les Paul, I want to buy it. I'm like, sorry, man. I literally just sold that guitar last week. And he was like, oh, that's a bummer. And I said, well, I do have the purple sandblasted ash Firefly Strat that I reviewed on the channel. Go back, look at that video. I can tell you it's a good guitar. It's all stock. I haven't done anything to it. Go look at that video. If you like the guitar, send me another email. Well, a couple of days later, he sent me an email and said, I like that guitar. Can I get that guitar? And he said, well, I'd like you to go through the guitar and make it spot on. So I did 2 videos of doing the fret work, setting up the guitar to what he told me he liked. And then I think that was, it hadn't been that long ago, about 3 months ago. It's the purple Firefly. And then I sent the guitar to him. We used some kind of app Linnell has on her phone to pay for the guitar. Cash App? Yeah, it was Cash App. We used the Cash App, paid for the guitar, and paid for the little bit of materials that I had to put into the guitar, and then he received it. And we've used Cash App 2 or 3 times in the past, sending out guitars. The only issue I really have with sending out a guitar is I'm so scared the UPS guy or FedEx or someone's going to grab the box and it's going to show up like a taco. I do put insurance on it, but there's a lot of time in that guitar because usually they're not just buying the guitar. They want me to set it up for them or to level the frets or add pickups or do some kind of trick wiring. And it's a shame if something would happen. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't do it. So if you saw a guitar in the past that I reviewed that you like, just hit me up. Right now, we're pretty much low. I've pretty much sold all the guitars that we've reviewed as far as the budget guitars. A couple of the high-end guitars have left too. The Dean MD24 is no longer with us. The Ibanez AMH90 is no longer with us. There's a couple of the higher-end guitars that I've done that we've sold off too. And that's why I was bringing up earlier. If you guys want to purchase a guitar, and it's happened quite a bit, they just send the guitar directly here. I do the review, and then you purchase the guitar. It's your guitar. I know it's coming, but you'll say, hey, I purchased this guitar, whether it's a Firefly or a Leo James or an E-Art or a Grote. Say, I already know the guitar, but I'm going to send it to you. You do the review, but I want you to put Seymour Duncan pickups in it. Or I like the guitar, but can you modify it and have push-pull pots? I want to do coil splits. So after I do the review, we'll do a second video of modifying the guitar, and then I send it to you. So we've done that too in the past. So if you're interested in that, you can just send me an email and we'll work something out. We'll make it happen. And it's good because it helps everybody else that's watching YouTube. It's another guitar review, and it's another how-to video on how to modify the guitar.
Read your comments.
Oh, Jerry says I can cash out. I don't know which instrument that you're thinking about that I have that I've reviewed, but send me an email. I'm trying to think of the budget guitars, which ones I still have. Oh, I've got a killer budget guitar right here.
Guzman is also the one that bought the Firefly relic from you.
Who is it?
Is his name Guzman?
Guzman? Oh, okay.
He bought the relic strap.
He bought the relic strap. Okay. I didn't see that comment.
He also wants to know if you have any more guitars for sale at the moment.
I don't know what guitars we have on Marketplace right now, to be honest with you.
We only have the modified one.
I think it's only this one that's on Marketplace. And I'll be honest with you, for the price that I have it on Marketplace, I'm hoping no one does buy it. I know that sounds awful. I have more in this guitar than any guitar that I own. And not just money, but time. This is the guitar that really started the channel for me. And there's also a side of me, since this is the guitar that started this channel, do I really want to sell it? I hurt my finger, so I really can't play. But this guitar,
Move your cigarette.
I can't explain how good this guitar actually is.
Move your cigarette.
Yeah, I already moved it. It just takes time for it to move. Let me put it out. Sorry guys, I'm a smoker. I'll put it out. Probably looks like a bar scene on YouTube. But this guitar here, we did a full fret level on it. I polished the frets. We changed the tuners. I forget what tuners this has. Hip shot 4-2 locking tuners. The bridge on this guitar is phenomenal. This has a German Floyd Rose base plate. It has stainless steel saddles. And the back of the base plate's been retapped for the stainless steel adjustment screws. And I say retapped. On stock tremolos, on the very end of the thread, they crush the thread. That way when you turn the fine tuner, it doesn't fall out of the guitar. When you go to take that out, even if you turn that and you try to grind that off smooth, it's going to damage the threads on the base plate. Okay? So keep that in mind if you want to change tuners. If you're using your old base plate and you're changing these, you're most likely going to damage the threads in your base plate. Since this was a brand new German base plate, I didn't have that issue. I was able to thread these right in. It also has the stainless steel pieces here that go into the locking nuts. And the reason I recommend these, the factory Floyd screws here that the screw pushes down on, it's cheap metal. Even on the German one, sometimes I see those things, they get warped. When you're pushing down on the fine tuner, it's pushing on the center of that screw. Okay? So your fulcrum is back here, and it's threaded into your fulcrum, so it's a lot of pressure on the back of that screw, and they warp. Stainless steel is pretty strong. It's pretty stout. So I don't have the warping issues with those screws. This also actually has a 42 millimeter solid brass block in the back of it with an upgraded claw. It's a monster guitar. It's a monster. So right now this one's on Marketplace for sale, and like I said, I don't even know if someone hit me up, I don't know if I want to sell. I think it's on market. What's it for, 400?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm going to tell her to take it down actually right now. I really can't sell this guitar for 400.
You want me to take it down?
Yeah, she's going to take it down. I had it listed for much more than that, and I had it sold. The gentleman had a Washburn. It was an N something, N4 or something, some American made guitar. It was the guy from Extreme. It was his signature guitar. It had a special metal plate back here and the body hooked. It was a very weird configuration. He wanted to do an even trade. And Nuno. It was a Nuno, a Buttercup or something guitar. I don't know how what the name is for that gentleman. And I didn't really want to do the trade, so I kept the guitar. That guitar was probably worth $600 or $700 at least. But I still kept the guitar. But if you guys get on Marketplace and just look.
We don't have anything for sale.
Oh. Linnell says there's nothing for sale right now on Marketplace. So it'll be sometime. I will be selling the Jackson. If anyone's interested in the 7-string Jackson, that one will be up for sale. And I do have 2 more Fireflies. I've got actually, who wants to, I don't want to do that. I got a Firefly that's brand new in the box. I'm hoping it's okay. That guitar has been here for 5 months. It's still new in the box and unopened. If I remember correctly, it is a Super Strat model. 2 humbuckers, 3-way switch, volume, tone. I think it's a fixed bridge model. I don't remember. It may have a tremolo. I'm not overly sure. So that guitar will be for sale soon too. Let me get back to the chat here. And I see Jedi Jingle Makers finally made it in. Good to see you too, man. This live stream is just open, Jedi. So if no one knows Jedi's channel, go check it out. The man is a writing genius. And when it says Jedi Jingle Master, he can write some jingles. It's actually, he's really good. Very talented. He asked me a while ago to do me and him and a couple other artists on YouTube were going to try to do something. And it just kind of fell apart. I guess no one was really interested in doing it. But I thought it would be kind of fun. And the thing of it is, with doing stuff like that, when you're not actually together, it makes it hard because you got to pre-record your part and then it's got to be mixed. But maybe in the future we can work something out and we can do something together again.
He said he still wants to collaborate with you.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm all up for it. Like I said, anyone in the chat, I'm pretty sure if you just type in his name in the YouTube search, his channel will come up. And he's got some cool stuff up there, man. It's all about small local channels. And I think the last stream we had, it was, what was it? Joyce or Janice guitar reviews. Very few channels that I can watch that I really feel are giving you their honest opinion. And I believe that gentleman's doing the exact same. And I've said it too about Dylan Talks Tone. Like I said, I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't like that guy." I gotta say, I do like him, and everything he says, I don't necessarily agree with, but he feels a certain way, and he makes a good product. I've got some of his pickups, spot on pickups. Are they pricey? Yeah, they're pricey. But him and his wife actually sit down and wind those pickups themselves. There's nobody else there. So I'm all about supporting Dylan. I think he's got a great product, and I think his videos on pickups and reading ohms, I think someone was asking about that earlier. It might have been Jerry, about what the Henrys meant. You can go check out Dylan's channel. He may rub you wrong. You may not. He might love the channel. But he's got a lot of videos on how to make a determination on what pickup better fits you. So you might want to check out his channel and see what you can find there on as far as the description on what the Henrys actually, or what information that's given you. And I haven't seen Mike join the chat yet, so Mike is probably AWOL still. But Mike, if you see Mike the moderator, he could also answer that question. He's far better at it than I am. Oh, Jerry says he hasn't seen. Okay, that's another good channel. He's got a lot of subscribers. That's a big channel. It's Dylan Talks Tone. And like I said, it's hit or miss. You're either going to like Dylan or he's going to rub you the wrong way. Me personally, like I said, the man has talent. And when I say he knows what he's talking about, he's a good pickup builder. He's got a good ear, and he builds nice stuff. So go check out his stuff. Like I said, he's got a ton of videos on pickup winding, wiring guitars. He's got a channel. He's got a website too where you can buy pre-configured wiring components. But he only builds what Dylan likes and wants to build. So that's fine. That's his product. It's his business. Well, thank you, Jedi. Yeah, everybody needs to hit the like button. Just so everyone, if you're new, I see some people are coming in and out of the chat. This live stream was just supposed to be a test. But before we realized it, there were 6 or 7 people in here. And it just turned out to be a test that we're just going to fly through. That's why the video is only on partial part of the screen. You'll have to go back and watch the beginning of the stream to find out why we're only using 2/3 of the screen. But there is a reason for it. I'm going to take a drink real quick, guys.
Jedi said he'll be a moderator for you if you want.
I do need a moderator. And that would be greatly appreciated if you wanted to step up and do that. Send me another email, and you've got a channel too. So I have to go into the YouTube config part, and I got to put your information in there. That way you're set up to be a moderator. Oh no, you're getting a 1099. Just like YouTube. I'm waiting for my 1099 to show up from YouTube from the whopping $180 that I made this year on YouTube. But I can guarantee you I'm getting a 1099. I'll probably get a 1099 for Amazon too for $150. Oh, wouldn't that be too funny, honey? Get a 1099 from Amazon. I don't know if I will or not, because I think it's 800 and under, isn't it? I'm not a tax guy. I think it's either 800 or 600 if you don't make. So I might be under the threshold on getting 1099s from Amazon and YouTube. Let's cross our fingers. That'll make things much simpler. Ha! Jerry says it's 600. Well, then we're safe.
Jedi said he made 30 cents yesterday.
Yeah, it's pretty funny when you watch one of your videos on YouTube. I hit the minimum on ad placements, or how many ads. I don't understand. It can't be hitting you guys like that. Because I'll be watching, it's every 5 minutes they're sticking an ad. I'm like, this is crazy.
Well, there's already been 5 or 6 ads pop up throughout this live stream.
Oh, there have already been 5 or 6 ads in this live stream. Now see, that's because if that's more than the last time, that's because I used YouTube Studio and I set everything on minimum. I didn't want any ads or this or that, but of course they're going to do, you can't take them all out. But since we're using OBS, I didn't have the YouTube window. And in OBS, I don't really see a spot where you can configure the YouTube ad function or it being monetized. So I don't even know if it's monetized. Like I said, this was supposed to be a test. I guess when I end the stream, I can go back in YouTube and look under details and see how OBS auto-configured YouTube Studio for the stream. So this is really a big live, learning curve.
I just got another ad.
And Linnell said she just got another ad. So, sorry guys. I will try to minimize it once I figure out how to do it in OBS to minimize the ads. YouTube is bad for that. You got another subscriber, Jedi. See? You're going to like his stuff, Jerry. He's a good guy. And I'm going to get caught up on the chat here. I guess Jedi says your channel is in my top 10 guitar channels. So hopefully he's talking about my channel. I try to do the best I can. Stoked. That means he's all on board for it. I'm happy, man. Like I said, I had put it out in the comment section that I was looking for someone to kind of help. I think once I bought some equipment, I showed it earlier in the stream, I honestly think my computer, I built this computer for AutoCAD. I know what you guys are thinking. AutoCAD, the full version of AutoCAD, not LT, the full version. I'm 2025. Well, I had 2023 on it. So it was built for AutoCAD. It was not built for frames per second and live streaming. So the video card that's in it is, it's a Quattro 4-core, but it's designed for model rendering and not necessarily frames per second. It can do huge calculations and model rendering, but it's not good at live streaming. So the next problem I have is hard drives. And since when I built this computer, AutoCAD only used 1 core. So I built the fastest 4-core that I could build at the time. I didn't need an 8-core or 12-core. So this is only a 4-core computer. I think it's running at 3.9 gigahertz, but it's only 4 cores. So I can't capitalize on multiple cores in OBS and YouTube. So I know the 4-core thing is really slowing me down, and it definitely slows me down when I'm doing my video editing. So I think the next thing I need to work on is getting a good computer so we can do some good editing, so we don't have the issues that we had in the last video. Go back to the chat. And Jedi, I'm talking to about your channel. Well, thanks, man. I like that. So how many people do you guys see? I see, now I'm looking at an OBS window. It says 9 right now.
Mine says 11.
And Linnell says 11. So let's change gears here, guys. Let's get off the Yamaha AG08 and the SM57 that I know is an instrument mic that we're using for audio. There's people that use SM57s, they work. Let's talk guitars. I know new people in the chat that haven't been in the live stream before. Anybody get a new guitar for Christmas? Or now Jerry's birthday is coming up, so I'm assuming Jerry's going to be buying a new guitar or an amplifier. Tube. I shouldn't say that. These new modeling amps have gotten crazy good. I don't see Short Bus in the chat. Now, he could be one of the guys just in the back watching. I've been showing Short Bus how to play guitar. He's local to me. He just bought, what's that guitar amp? It's a NUX. Yeah, NUX, a little amp. I'm telling you what was it? How much did he pay for that?
I think it was like 170.
I think it was $170. So I think they only have like 3 amps. So whichever the one, it was like $170 at our local music store. And free selfless plug to them, Shenandoah Music. They have they had my MD24. If you guys want to buy it, I think they want $550 for it. It may have sold already, but that's who had it for sale. He bought it there. That little NUX amp, that thing is nice. It's got, you hook your phone to it, you can change the delay time, the length, the milliseconds, the reverb, hall, your gain. It's crazy. It's got presence, low, mid, high. It's a nice little amp. And it's actually quite loud for he's probably $180 after tax, I think, what he paid for it. He got that, a guitar strap, a cord. Oh, yeah, he bought a wah-wah, too. Yeah, he's new. He wants to make noise, you know. He wants to wah-wah-wah-wah. He wants to play Jimi Hendrix. I don't think he's got a nice little budget set up, because I saw him in the Firefly Les Paul that I had with the Floyd Rose. I know. I told him that he didn't want a Floyd Rose tremolo guitar starting out, but he wanted to make wild noises. I guess that's why he bought the wah-wah. But I have put new strings on it for him, set it up, and he's doing pretty good. We did a short FaceTime on the phone earlier, going over some basic chords that he had forgotten. I gave him a cheat sheet on how to play and where to position fingers and stuff. I told him I was going to be live streaming, so he didn't come over tonight. So he may come over tomorrow and I can help him out a little bit. But he knows that I hurt my finger, so I really can't do the demo, show him I guess I could still show him the chording, and I could just be there to help get his fingers in the right spot. So I don't even know where all this started. It just kind of went off on a tangent. Oh, we were talking about new topics. That's it. Sometimes, if you watch my videos, I got that squirrel brain. So I get off on a tangent, and who knows where we're going to end up. I see the chat moving again. If I run the Boss GT1 inline through the Spark, I can get decent tones, but I just want a tube amp. I like tube amps, and I want to qualify something here. Now, I'm going to smoke again. Everyone knows that I like tube amps. I think tube amps sound warmer. I think there's just something about a tube amp. But I don't want anyone thinking that they're going to go out and spend. I'm going to put an amount. I'm going to say $1,200. Let's say you have $1,200 and you don't have any effects. Let's say you don't have any stomp pedals. You're just going from a modeling amp, maybe a Spark, or maybe you've got a Katana, something like that. But you want that tube sound. At $1,200, you're not going to get it. It's not happening. You might get that Marshall tone or distortion out of it, but it's going to be lacking everything else. It's going to be lacking your delay. It's going to be lacking compression. When you guys hear my guitar in my videos, I have a rack. Okay, and a lot of people made comments, well, you're demoing this guitar through $10,000 rack mount amplifier. I don't think it's quite 10 grand. Let's go over the prices of my rack. On the very top of my rack, if you watch my videos, that is a Line 6 Relay G90. Out of all the wireless rigs that I have tried, and believe me, I tried every one that was made. I went from Samson to Shure to Westgate, all these companies. and Guitar Center is where I bought it. I took every one of them back due to legacy or whatever, however that's pronounced. There felt like this delay between me and the amplifier. It kept going up. Each time I took a product back, well, you're picky, you need this one. So I'd give them the extra money, and I'd take that one home. I'd play it for a week, and I'm like, this thing's awful. Finally, I walked in, the guy went in the back, and he grabbed this, and he brought out, this was 15 years ago, and he said, if you don't like this, you can't go wireless. And it was $1,000 just for the wireless unit. Now, in my demos, I'm not using it. I just wanted to let you know that is what the top piece in my rack is. The second piece in my rack now is a Synergy SY2, and I'm using the Friedman BE-DLX preamp, and I have a Sodano Slow. Now, if you've watched all my previous reviews, none of those reviews are running the Synergy preamp. I just now got that hooked up into the system. So for frame of reference, if you liked my tones in the other videos, it did not have that piece. My third piece in the rack is an SGX 2000 Express that's been modified by TubeWorks. The unit was sent to them, and they modified it and put, instead of using one 12AX7, it has two 12AX7s in it. How they did it, I have no idea. They did the same modification to the Digitech Purple Monster. And I have the dogs barking. Woof do. Be good. So if you remember the Digitech Purple Monster, they actually did a modification on that unit as well, where you could go to two 12AX7s in that. And they offered a modification for the SGX 2000. I sent it to them, they modified it, I got it back. But that's all I can tell you about the modification. Underneath that is a unit that's very, very, very hard to find. It's the silver unit that's in my rack. And that is an AMR inline tube sweetener. Okay, so it's a stereo unit, and it just warms the sound of the amplifier. That's all it does, is it's warming the sound. Sorry guys, I don't know what's going on with the dogs. Let me yell down to the basement and have the dog downstairs lay down. Riley, go lay down. Sorry guys, puppies. I love dogs, but sometimes they start talking back and forth and they're as bad as me talking. But back to the AMR. So the AMR unit is not designed for guitar. And this is where you guys are probably going to laugh. The AMR inline tube sweetener was actually built for people like me that had Alesis ADATs. If you're old, you probably remember ADAT. ADAT was a VHS tape that it split the tape into 8 distinctive channels. Most people had 2, which I had 2, and you bought a Mackie VLZ 16 Pro, and all 8 channels went into the Mackie, and you did a loop, and you would do your recording through that. When ADAT first came out, everyone said, digital will never replace 2.5-inch tape or 1.5-inch tape, the old Tascam and Apex reel-to-reel machines. So the first problem they had was the digital sound. It lost its warmth. So companies made inline tube sweeteners where you could come out of the ADAT into the tube sweetener. So in this case, for one ADAT, you would need 4 units because it was only two, it's a left and right. It's 2 independent channels. So you would need 4 to cover one ADAT, and it would just sweeten and warm the sound up. And then it would go to your outfeed, to your monitors, or to your mastering deck. And in my case, my mastering deck was a Tascam DA30, which I still have. I don't think anyone uses DA30s anymore. That's a DAT. and DAT stood for digital audio tape. I still have the unit. It's bulletproof. It'll last forever. That unit I use in the effects loop, the inline tube sweetener. I use it to gain up the line level in the SGX 2000. So I'm getting a little bit of warmth and a little bit of color and just a little bit more. Since it's a line level unit, I can push the gain a little bit more up in the amp. Then the next unit below that is a 362 BBE sonic maximizer. If you're not familiar with the sonic maximizer, just go buy one. If you play guitar, I'm telling you, go buy a BBE sonic maximizer. It's not reverb, it's not a delay, it's not compression, it's not... The only way I can say is your guitar is just going to sound better. It maximizes the sonic signal of your instrument. Anything that you plug into that is going to sound better, period. Whether it's a bass, your drums, your vocals, live streaming. And I think I said it earlier, this 286 that I bought, okay, has an enhancer built into it. Basically, it's a detuned BB sonic maximizer. That's what it's doing. I bought this particular unit because it does a little bit of everything, but it enhances the microphone, gives a little bit more clarity, helps the sonic range. Just get one, trust me. After all that, then I have a BK Butler 6L6 power amplifier. It is stereo, okay? Now my 4-speaker cabinet has 4 Celestion greenbacks in it. Since my rig is not mono, everyone says, how's your sound so big and full? Cat's out of the bag. My system is stereo. As soon as I go into the art, it splits the signal path, and I have 2 independent signal paths. The left and right channel is EQ'd completely different. The EQ is different on the left than it is the right. The delays are set up, like if I'm using a modular delay and a hall delay, I have to make sure both those channels have the exact same repeat time. If not, you end up with mud. So on the right-hand side, I might be using reverb, and you have that overlap in the reverb. You got to make sure that that time that it's overlapping is in sync with your delay. Okay, now you may have delay in both channels. You might be using a hall and a gate on one, maybe a reverse reverb. Again, you have to align your reverbs. If not, it turns to mud. The advantage to doing this is, if you go up to your amplifier and you punch your mids, it's not just punching the mids, it's pushing the mids up, but you're going to lose something else because of the EQ curve. If you had 2 amplifiers and you pushed up your mids, okay, and then on the other amplifier you pushed up the low, you're not going to have the correction or the error that the EQ does to the signal path on the one amp on the other amp that you're boosting the low to. So if I want my low, like my left channel is my low signal. I try to get the grunge and the beef of the low strings to my left channel. Okay, everything on the left side. My highs, my sonics, and my harmonics I push to the right. And I get a lot more clarity that way. And it is stereo. I get that sound because of that equipment. I don't want someone thinking they're going to go out and buy a tube amplifier and they're going to get a sound like that, because it's very expensive. If you go look on YouTube, people that's doing stereo amplifier systems, they just sound awesome. And a lot of the reason is, when you change your signal path or your EQ curve on this channel, it doesn't affect the other channel. Anytime you make a change in your EQ curve, there's always, for every action, there's always an opposite reaction. Well, that change is not going to affect the signal path on the other channel. So you can really do some really cool things. Now, granted, in my reviews, I'm using GoPros. I don't know if you guys can See the GoPro here. Now the GoPro is technically mono, but I set the microphone up in the center of the room. I set one microphone in the center of the room, and I set one microphone over here. I do use both audio signal paths in my editing software, and I'll overlay them together. But you're still getting a mono signal in my reviews. But it is captured close to the amp, and then a room amplifier, because your room makes a lot of difference. You can get a really full sound with a room, what they call a room mic. But I also try to get the one camera up next to the driver's, to get that driver sound. So you're getting a mix there as well. Is that cheating? I don't think it's cheating. I think it's me trying to make sure that I'm giving you the best possible sound. Do I have a favorite fuzz pedal? I don't really do fuzz too much, to be honest with you, because fuzz sounds like you got a blown speaker. I think if you use fuzz tastefully, I think you can get the right sound out of it. I personally haven't really used a fuzz pedal that much. I think it would work really good for the grungy blues stuff. I need to experiment more with it. I don't have a fuzz pedal. I'm looking up at my distortion pedals. Well, I can show you which distortion pedals we have here. And the only time I use a distortion pedal is for boost. And I haven't used a boost pedal on any of my videos that I haven't said, I'm using this boost pedal into the signal. I have done it a couple times, but I always point it out. If I'm using boost, I say, I'm doing this. So let me grab a couple distortion pedals here. They're all on top of my amp thing here. So here's the distortion pedals that I have. Now this one's technically not mine. This one's the significant other. Now notice it's a Metal Zone. So you know what kind of music she likes. I think for a boost pedal, this probably isn't the one you're looking for. I know Boss makes good stuff. These things are tanks. They don't go bad. They're tanks. That's what they are. So we got a Metal Zone. Then I've got a Lancelot. And I did a video on this one. Right now, this one's up near my favorites. This one, it works really well as just a boost. But you can actually not only use it like a volume boost when you go into your lead, you can do a gain boost here. Now, it also works really well if you've got a clean channel, and this happens, you want to play clean, and you need that overdrive. This pedal seems to work really well on a clean channel, getting all your gain through here, and then the boost, because it has a built-in boost. But you can actually use it through your gain channel as a boost to boost your gain, and then boost your decibel level up for your lead. So I like the function and the form factor of this pedal. It works really well. And like I said, I got a video on that one. You guys can go back and watch it. And then the old tried and true. Say what you want. This pedal has sold probably more than any other distortion pedal on the market today. This one is not super old. It's a TS9 Tube Screamer. I know they made a bunch of different versions. This one is actually made in Japan. I think the new ones are made in China. But it's not the super valuable one that everyone's looking for. I don't remember what the model number of that one is. This is just a TS9. I don't have to say anymore. If you know distortion pedals, you know the TS9. You can't go wrong with it. Again, metal case, built like a tank. It'll never. You buy this, it's not going to break. They're awesome. Then we have this one. This is a Joyo. I did a video on this pedal. It's kind of like a dual rectifier sound. It's kind of cool. It is a metal case. Is it as thick as the Joyo Dr. J? No, I think the case is a little thinner. It's definitely not as thick as the Ibanez case. And it's got a plastic knobs. These knobs on this one don't feel as nice as the Dr. J or the Ibanez, but they function. I don't think they're so cheap where they're going to break. And then, of course, you've got the boost and then your distortion on this one. This pedal, you're not going to get low distortion out of. You're not going to play rocky blues with this pedal. It is extreme distortion to stupid distortion. That's all it does. And I had one more pedal. Oh, yep, let me grab that. I got one more distortion pedal. We have the Joyo American. Now, this pedal was my go-to as far as doing like, I would say more of a blues rock. But if I had to pick one of these pedals to be on my floorboard rack, right now, I'm going to actually say the Dr. J. I would put this one on my pedal board before I did the Ibanez. And the main reason for that, I think the Lancelot, it's not going to give you the super heavy distortions. It's not, if you're looking for that, it's not going to, you're going to have to add another pedal to your pedal board. But I think it has such a large range from the blues rock to a pretty heavy hair rock. It covers it. This pedal kind of falls off. I think it does the lighter distortions better, but it doesn't really get into the heavier rock sounds. And we're not going heavy like this one. We're not talking dual rectifier tones. This one just won't get there. If you max it out, it will give you the 90s and 80s, but it's not going to give you the dual rectifier or super gain channel amp. It's just not going to do it. But it's a good pedal. But like I said, if I had to pick, and I had to pick one and put on my pedal board, I would go with the Dr. J. I like this one. So I guess I need to get a fuzz. I don't have a fuzz. I'm looking up. That's all the distortion pedals I own. I'm not seeing anything else up there. The other pedals I own, I have a D-Speed 2. I have a Joyo digital delay, reverb, and then a Joyo chorus, and then a NuX. I don't know what NuX this is. Got this little guy. It's made by NuX. And this has been in the videos before. I used to use this pedal with my Black Star amp just to give a little bit of delay with the Black Star reverb. And this actually worked pretty good. Jerry's talking about getting a tube amp. So I think this, it says right on it, Shandor Music. So I paid 80 bucks for it. And that sounds pretty horrible for a little pedal. But this little guy seemed to do really good. There's analog and delay. So it'll do analog or delay effects. It is a little funny. You got to push and hold. And the little light turns either blue or red, whether it's analog or delay. I'm more of analog or digital, sorry. I'm more of an analog delay guy. I like the analog, especially if you're just using one in a mono block. I think the analog sounds a little warmer. But I think this pedal with the Black Star, using the reverb that was in the Black Star, gave me a really good tone. So if you're trying to get a tube amp and you're trying to get that big fat meaty sound, just keep in mind you're going to have to add some things. If you're trying to get that 80s sound and you don't have a chorus, you're not going to get there. You got to have chorus, even if it's just a little bit of chorus. In the 80s and early 90s, it was always something that they used in the mix. The guitar player, it was just something added to the tone. I think if you had this pedal and an inexpensive chorus pedal, and a nice tube amplifier that's got a nice gain stage with built-in reverb, I think you can get a really nice sound out of it. But I don't think you're going to get there. I don't think you're going to be able to do it for under $1,600. Unless someone can put in the chat a nice 12-inch speaker combo cab tube amp with a nice gain stage. And keep in mind, usually those amps are single channel. So if you want a clean channel and a dirt channel, something with foot switchable, you're going to pay a little bit more. If someone knows a nice 2-channel 112 combo amp that's tube under $1,200, put in the chat. I'm kind of curious. Not saying there isn't. There might be one out there. I just can't really think of one, a dual channel tube. So if you had the dual channel, you had this, and you had a chorus, I think that you could pretty much cover what you needed to do at a lower cost. Let me go back to the chat because I've just been rambling. Plus, I got to get something to drink.
Yeah.
I have tea. I've yet to drink it. She was like, "You need more tea?" She brought me the tea 20 minutes ago because I said my throat was dry. I've yet to actually take a drink. Now, guys, everyone's got to put in the comment section one other favor. Put Linnell needs to sit in the living room and read off comments. Because, see, she's supposed to be the other part of the live stream, and she's supposed to read off the comments. That way I don't look strange sitting here reading the computer screen trying to get caught up on the chat. That truly is the next evolution of the live stream, if you guys can talk her into it.
Jedi wants to know sweet or unsweet tea.
Actually, Jedi, I've been a diabetic for 30 years. And I'm not just a little bit of a diabetic. My pancreas does not work at all. So it is sweet tea, but it's an artificial sweetener in the tea. And I would say on a sweetness scale, yes, it's sweet, but it doesn't affect my sugar. That was the hardest thing when I first became a diabetic. I was like, oh my gosh, I love sweet tea. And I tried cheating a couple times. It was just regular tea. It didn't end well for me. So she makes tea with artificial sweetener for me. So yeah, it's sweet tea. Exact same thing with my coffee. There's mornings I think she goes, would you like a little coffee with your condiments? Because by the time she puts the creamer in it, I use powdered creamer. Then I've been using, what's that, heavy whipping cream. I went from half and half now to heavy whipping cream. Okay. And then she puts my equal in there. Half the cup is full of that, and it's like a half a cup of coffee. And then you kind of mix it together. So it's pretty sweet as well. Outstanding. Yeah. Like I said, she makes my coffee for me in the morning. She's got it down to a science. Yeah, but I'm liking the heavy whipping cream more so than the half and half. Okay, let's go back. Kurt in scale. I didn't see him come into the chat, but he's posted something. The PV Valve King.
You were telling him to post that some kind of amp.
Yeah, the Valve King. The only one that I'm thinking on PV that's a combo. I know they had the trans tube stuff, but it wasn't tube. I'm gonna have to look up I know the name, but do they still make that? I know they make the what's the little it's like the Classic 30. I think they still make that. It's like the little tweed amp, and then they make like a little mini head version of that. I don't know if PV what they're making now. Believe me, guys, I'm a PV fan. My 4-speaker Celestion cabinet started out life as a PV Butcher. I had the PV Butcher 120 watt head, and that was the cabinet that came with the PV Butcher. And when I bought the cabinet, I loaded it with 4 greenback Celestion drivers of the time. And I don't remember what the cabinet originally come with. I don't know if they were PV drivers or something else, but I do remember that I put the greenbacks in the cabinet. And those greenbacks are 30 plus years old. They sound nice. I do think I have one, though, that's making a little bit of a noise. So I probably have one damaged one in the cabinet.
Jerry said a EVH Icon 40.
Jerry said the original. I'm looking for Jerry's comment. I'm not seeing it.
Underneath curtain scale.
EVH Icon 40. That's another one on the EVH amps. I saw one, and I think it was a 212 model, the one that I saw. I don't remember how much, but it was a combo, and that amp was quite mean. I don't know how good the clean channel, I think that was a 2-channel EVH. I don't know how good the clean channel was on that amp. But if it's EVH, I know Fender makes the EVH guitars. Is Fender the company making the EVH amps? Who's doing the EVH amps? I'm sure it's got to be. I know Fender's got the contract on the guitars. I'm not too sure on the amps. If someone knows. And I'm reading the comments. Oh, Diamond Sweet Tea. Yeah. PV Mace, if you can find one. I'm trying to think of a nice small tube amp. I know back in the day, Laney made some nice little tube combo amps back in the day. I was just never a combo guy. That's why I like the chat, because you guys can educate me too. I'm only good. I went from a PV butcher head and 4-speaker cabinet. When I left that world of the half stack, I went right into rack mount stuff. I literally went out and I bought the SG. Well, I take that back. The first unit I had was an ART SGE Mach 1, and that was a preamp, and it had sliders. It was all push button. It wasn't very user friendly. I went out of that. Now you guys can laugh at me. I went out of that to a Hafler DH500 power amplifier into my 4-speaker greenback Celestion cabinet. My gain controls on the Hafler were at 25%. And I used that rig until I was able to buy, I used the Hafler amplifier right up to, I don't remember what rack mount tube amp I bought. It wasn't the Butler. I bought something that I didn't like. I had for about a month, and I returned back to the store and I got the Butler. But I did that after I got the SGX 2000 Express. So I was running the SGX 2000 Express, the AMR tube sweetener. Yeah, I was using the SGX 2000, the AMR inline tube sweetener through the Hafler DH500 power amplifier. And my next piece of equipment was the Pro Valve BK Butler power amp. And then I added the 362. So I guess I was running a hybrid rig. I was running a tube preamp stage and a solid state power amp stage. So I never really got the gain and the meat from the power amp. I was using Haflers, which were known for a extremely low noise floor. I think the total harmonic distortion on the DH500 at 500 watts was 0.0001. So they were crazy quiet, but not designed for guitar.
Jedi said, how about the Vox 30?
Yeah, Vox would be a good amp. Again, We want to qualify things here, guys. Vox has a certain sound, just like a Marshall has a certain sound. So when you're looking for an amplifier and you're playing a variety of music, you may not want to put yourself in a box to where you got the Vox sound. Can the Vox sound like a Marshall, or can the Marshall sound like a Vox? Can you take the EVH and detune it into a nice clean sound? Can you get some Voxy tones out of it? Can you get some Marshall tones out of the EVH? So I think as a 1 amp person, you really want to be careful what kind of preamp you have, because if you're playing a variety of different music, remember your amplifier is what's going to give you that sound. I think I've said it before. When I demo guitars like this Kramer, I've upset people. A lot of people want to spend $1,000 or $2,000 on a guitar. A lot of your sound comes from your amp. So you really want to invest the majority of your money in your amplifier. If you have a nice amplifier, you can get away with a pickup that isn't quite as hot or not quite as sweet sounding. You know, the dollar goes a lot further with your amp versus your guitar. That's just my opinion. So when you're looking for an amp, try to find something that you know that you're going to fit your playing style. If the Vox does that, great. I love the sound of a distorted Vox amp. How often would I really play it? It really doesn't fit my playing style, so I've never bought one. But I like going into the music store and plugging into one and just, I love the tone. I think I could take the Vox tone and kind of shape it and make it my own. And what's funny that I say that, I'm using the Synergy SY2 now with the Friedman DLX. I've tweaked that thing to make it sound like just a crazy hair metal sounding preamplifier. And I know that preamplifier will do much more than that. It has a lot more headroom, a lot more gain stage. And it's funny that if you put an amplifier in front of a guy that's used to something, he's going to sit and fiddle with it and get it as close to what he thinks sounds right. Just like Eddie Van Halen did. You know, he switched to Peavey. He had Marshall for a while. He had a bunch of different kinds of amplifiers. But if you listen to his tone, did it change? It still sounded like Eddie Van Halen. A lot of people say the tone's in your fingers. I get that too. But he evolved, okay? So if the Vox tone is what you like, I think Vox makes a good amp. Just go out and play. And if you go into a music store and they're not going to let you really experiment with the amp, take some stuff with you. Take your pedals. Take your little pedal board with you. Go in, sit down with, maybe bring 2 of your favorite guitars. Sit down in front of that amplifier, if you can, and play with it. Try different sounds. Try to get some good clean sounds of it. Take a guitar that's got single coils and a guitar that's got humbuckers. They sound completely different. So try both of them through it and see what you get. You know, I know a lot of companies, they'll give you 30 days, but just go in, make sure you're making the right call. If you're buying it used, watch some YouTube videos on it. Make sure that amplifier is going to get somewhere where you like it. Is it a purchase that's going to get you to your next playing stage, or is it a purchase that I plan on keeping this forever? So there's a lot to go in there. But I'm a tube guy. I guess the whole point in this was, which is probably most cost friendly as far as sound goes. I think I can pull it out here and you can see it right here. And it's getting hooked into the Yamaha right now. This is the Line 6 HX Stomp. Now, in the Stomp, I have done a couple reviews just using the Stomp, but I was going out of the output to my Mackie board to my control room monitors. So instead of putting a microphone in front of the amplifier doing the live streams, I was thinking about just taking my guitar, plugging into the HX Stomp, using a cab hour, go right out of the HX Stomp to the Yamaha, directly into the computer to the live stream. Probably nothing wrong with that. Axe Effects, all these companies, Quad Cortex, the modeling has gotten really good. And when you buy something like that, you're getting all your effects with it. So technically speaking, if you have a PA, okay, I have a PA system. If you have something that's just amplifying your iPod or whatever it is, and you've got an auxiliary input, you can take your guitar, plug it into that Line 6 HX Stomp, make sure you set it up where you have an IR for your cab and your amp sim, and just send it right to your stereo. You don't necessarily need the amplifier, okay? And is it the same? I'm going to say no. I can tell the difference. But when I go back and watch my YouTube video and I listen to the HX Stomp and I hear what my rack mount unit sounds like, is there a $5,000 price difference? $6,000 price difference? Boy, that's hard to justify. It does feel better, but it comes down to does it feel $5,000 or $6,000 better? If you're on a budget and you need all your effects and any kind of amp you want, whether it's a Vox, a Marshall, all those amp models are built into these things now. I'm not telling you which way to go. I understand people say amps are dead, and it looks like things are moving towards modeling with hours and stuff like that. I'm going to do it most likely on the live stream. I'm probably still have a microphone in front of my favorite rack mount because I like it. But for the ease, just ease of use, just to go right out of the HX Stomp, right into the Yamaha, into the interface to the computer, that's just easy.
Read Jedi's comment close to the bottom where he has the Boss Katana.
Linnell just yelled in, for sure doing that in my Van Halen on the Vox.
Down close to the bottom.
Older I get, the more I like vintage stuff. I'm reading Jedi's comments. I have the Boss Katana MK2 100. I think I had the MK2 50 watt.
Well, he's thinking about upgrading the speakers. Do you think it's worth it for a better sound?
I'll be honest with you, Jedi. I was listening to Linnell. She read your comment. Speakers do a lot. When I say they do a lot, they do a lot. I don't know. I don't really want to touch my camera. While I'm pointing this way, underneath my Black Star, I have a PV Penta. The PV Penta, in my opinion, is a phenomenal 412 open back cabinet that PV made for their Penta amplifier. And the Penta amplifier had a knob that you could go through and it would change the voicing on the tube head way ahead of its time. Why those amplifiers don't sell for more money? If you have $1,700, I know that's a lot of money, get on Reverb, find a PV Penta. It's a green ugly head with gold. They're not, well, you might like it. It's very strange looking. It's a dark green Torlex with gold. Buy the head, find someone that's got the cabinet and the head. They're designed to work together. You can get so many different sounds out of that amplifier. It's a unique find. But back to the speaker thing. The PV Pentas, they have a completely different sound to my Celestions. I think they play well together. Okay. Right now, my rack mount equipment is going into my Celestions. Okay. If I want a little bit more, I'm not going to say it's going to take, it's going to lose, I don't even know how to say it. I want to say it loses a little harmonic and a little bite, but it's hard to explain. The PV cabinet, if Penta cabinet, if I slide it over and I just literally unplug from my greenbacks, plug in the Penta, it still sounds awesome, but it's a different sound. Okay, good drivers, PV Penta drivers. If you can find one of those, good driver. Greenback Celestions, Greenback Creambacks, good drivers. Over in the corner is a cabinet that I reviewed, the SR cabinet with the Celestion V30s. I found with the V30s, they're very dark sounding. Not saying I disliked it, but I think if you took a V30 and a greenback or a V30 and a creamback and you mixed them together, I think you'd have a good sound. I think, I don't know the music that you play, but if you're playing a large variety of music, I don't see the V30 working well in the Katana. You want a speaker that's going to hit a large range. I would say the Creamback Celestion would probably be a good speaker. Jensen actually makes some really good speakers. I can't think of the model, but Jensen makes some nice speakers. And of course, the Greenback would make a nice speaker. Eminence, the Eric Johnson model that Eminence makes, good speaker. The problem with speakers are you got to hook it up. Every speaker is going to sound a little different to the amplifier. So, and that's something when you go into the guitar store, they're not going to pull a driver out and let you, because the driver is going to sound completely different when you put it in the cabinet. Your cabinet makes a difference in the sound of the driver, how much volume's in the cabinet, how much pressure's behind the driver. If I remember, the Katana's open back, so certain drivers do better in an open back configuration and not a sealed cabinet. Usually, a sealed cabinet will restrict the movement of the driver, but also allows the driver to handle more wattage because the voice coil isn't going to move as much. So there's a lot of different things there. I would go to whatever forums that's on the Katana, and I would just ask the guys that have done the change and ask them what kind of music they play. That's what I would do. But I'll be honest with you, I had the 50-watt Katana Mach 2, and I sold it. And I kind of wish I didn't. Because that little amplifier was one, it was small, and it was lightweight, and it sounded good. I could take that, and I took my little headless guitar, and it took very little room in the guitar, in the truck when we took trips or went somewhere, and it was loud enough to play outside. The last time I took it somewhere, we went to a friend's wedding, and I played outside on the river with it and had no problems whatsoever. I wasn't playing for everyone. I was just kind of doing my own little thing in the corner, but I'm sure they heard me, the main group over by the wedding stuff. I'm sure they heard me up there playing. So I don't know if I would change it. You'd have to get to the forums and see. I'm sure there's a better driver. You just got to find the one that's going to fit that amplifier, if that makes sense. Yeah, Linnell just told me we've been on for 2.5 hours. Almost. That's good. I'm liking the live stream stuff. We are going to have to limit the live stream time. Maybe it's supposed to be a 3-hour live stream on Saturday nights. If you guys are good with it and she doesn't run out the door saying she can't take it anymore, I guess we'll keep doing it. Let me get another drink because I'm getting hoarse. Let's see what the chat's talking about now. Yeah, Jerry said he's just trying to get back to the 80s. Yeah, if you're trying to do tube in the '80s, the good thing about this is the '80s were several years ago. So all the tricks and the secrets, like all the stuff EVH did that everyone's like, how's he get that sound? It's all pretty much been figured out now. So you can go talk to people that's gotten that certain sound and that certain ability, and you can just kind of replicate what they've already figured out. Um, I don't think if that's the sound you're looking for, I would look at Laney's got some new amplifiers out that are tube. I don't know if they make a little tube combo amp or not, but I do know that I've heard nothing but good things about these new Laney amps that they just come out with. So you might want to look in the Laney direction. Most of the live streams I watch are 3 hours and more, so this is spot on. Well, that's good. I just don't want to get boring to where I run out of things to talk about. That's why I keep going back to the chat, seeing what you guys are talking about, and seeing if I can join in. I see Juke 5000 has joined the group. I don't know if he's posted earlier or just came in.
He just came in.
So the Katana 100, I'm pretty sure that I had the 50, the Mach 2 MK250.
But he had a problem with the amp in jack.
Now I had a problem with the input jack on my Black Star amp. That's what I thought it was, but come to find out there was another problem. I didn't have that problem with my MK250. I never opened up the Katana. I never had a problem with it to see if they're using the printed circuit board one. It's like the plastic. It looks like a dome house with the plug with the pins come out. If they're using that one's not too hard to replace. I would venture to say that's the one they're using in there.
Jerry said he's had his eyes open for an older Egnator.
Yes, I have an Egnator. Mine's the Egnator Renegade. If you're searching for Egnator, you definitely want an older one because as Egnator's popularity grew, I think they started to get a little greedy. They put substandard transformers in them, and they had transformer failures. Again, I wish Mike was in the chat because Mike's done a tremendous amount of repairs on Egnators, and he can tell you what year they made the change. I want to think it was 2012, 2015, somewhere in that ballpark. I'm sure you could Google search Egnators change when they changed their transformers. Unless you plan on putting money in the amplifier, I would stay away from those years. But the Renegade, I have one right there. That amplifier has got just such a really nice warm sound. You can get some crystal cleans out of it, and you can get some really hairy sounds out of it too. So that in my opinion, that's a nice amp. And it is old enough to where it's in the models before they started having the transformer issues. I paid, found it on Reverb, I think it was $350, and I had to drive up into Pennsylvania to pick the amplifier up. The problem with buying amplifiers is most people don't want to ship them because they're heavy. So that kind of limits the area that you're searching in unless you're willing to drive. In my case, that was 2.5 hours away. But the wedding I was telling you about that I went to, on the way back from the wedding, we stopped in and I picked that amplifier up. So it was only a short detour versus the wedding that I went to. So it wasn't too bad. So if you can find one, it's a good amp. Yeah, Jedi says, lives are fun. I try. At least with this, I don't have to wait for my computer to buffer as I'm editing a fade going from one camera shot to the other. And then the whole system crash and I'll lose 15 minutes of work and I have to reboot. So that's one good thing about live streaming. We'll say it's much easier. Once you get the OBS to work, we're going to work on the OBS thing and get the screen bigger. Hopefully, you know what would be kind of cool is just, I've noticed this on other live streams, like the chat window hangs down below the video window. So to see the bottom of the live chat, you have to scroll down on your computer screen, and then that cuts off the video feed that you're watching. I don't know if anyone else has had that problem. The bottom of the live chat is below the video. So to see what's just being put in, the top part of the video is up above the screen and you don't see the whole video. Maybe it's something in my settings on my laptop in the kitchen. That when I'm watching live streams, I'm usually in the kitchen. And I've noticed that about it. So maybe in this open spot that I have that OBS has created, maybe I could shift the live chat over to that somehow on the Windows Studio or the YouTube Studio. I don't know if it would let me do that or not. It would probably be too much delay for it to do that. Well, thanks, Jude. It seems like we're going to build a group that's just a live stream group. That's cool. I like that. I got to figure out a way of getting it to send a message out earlier and still be able to do the configuration in OBS. Now, last week, I think I was able to send one out, but it still waited to like 30 minutes before, and it sent out a notification or something. I can't remember. I got to figure out those settings on that so more people will know that we're going to do something. But I'm shooting for Saturday nights. Tonight was a little early because this was just going to be a test. So I planned on shutting the test down and then going and restarting. But I didn't. It's okay. Well, I'm cool with the video the way it's set up. It's fine. We'll work out the bugs. Yeah, Jupe said especially when the ads kick in. There may be more ads this week. I don't think you were part when we went over that. Since I set everything up in OBS, I wasn't able to go in the YouTube parameters and set everything to minimums. So whatever YouTube's factory default is and whatever OBS's factory default is, that's what we're dealing with tonight. So if it's an ad every 5 minutes, that's YouTube default. I had nothing to do with it because as of right now, I don't know how to change it through OBS to YouTube. That's something I'll work on this week to get it back to the minimum. Linnell said that there was more ads going on this week than last week, so we'll figure it out. Each week, if we get a little better, I'm happy. That's all it's about. Get a little better. So Jedi is talking here. I got to read. Well, yeah, that was the reason. It was not only did I get the amplifier, Jedi, when we went to the wedding, she probably should have opened the truck door and kicked me out on the middle of the highway because on the way up, we're going through Hagerstown. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a Guitar Center in Hagerstown. Of course, I go into Guitar Center. I end up picking up my Epiphone Dot. And she's like, well, you like it. You know, when you pick up a guitar and you like it, you just like that guitar. She's just get the guitar, you like it. Well, I didn't hear anything about the reverb listing. I had sent a message, hey, I'm going to Pennsylvania for a wedding. If possible, I could swing in and pick up the amplifier. So I was thinking, okay, I'm not going to get the amplifier. She hadn't responded, right? So I'm in Guitar Center. Okay, I'll get the guitar. So I go up to the wedding thing, and we're getting ready to leave, and I get a thing on my reverb. She's accepted your offer. I'm like, holy mackerel. So we diverted went and picked up the amplifier. So on that trip, I ended up getting the Ignator and the hollow body guitar. And she did come home with me, and she didn't open up the door, and I didn't end up in the middle of the highway. So it all worked out in my favor. But that was an expensive trip with the amp and the guitar, and the money was spent up there. But it was fun. That's why I always say I can't say anything bad. She lets me have my toys. So that's a good thing. I go back to the chat here. Yeah, must stop at Guitar Center. That is the rule. The Kramer I have with the like bluish, I'll call it teal dots. I was in Guitar Center with I don't see him this week in the chat. Smoothie Buns, the Harley Benton guitar that I did in drop tuning with all the heavily modified stuff that we did to it. That was his guitar that I modified for him. And we met at Guitar Center, and they had that Kramer. It's $1,000 Night Swan. They had it on sale for $550. I picked that guitar up, and I just fell in love with it. And it's normally out here. I took it back in the office when I opened up the guitar to be reviewed, the new Firefly. So once that Firefly goes to its owner, the Kramer will come back out. That seems to be my go-to guitar right now, is my Kramer Night Swan. But yeah, that's what ends up happening when you go to Guitar Center and you do what I say. Just because it's a guitar, you may not, look at that thing, it's got polka dots all over it. Yeah, once you get past the look and you just play the guitar, you might be surprised what you find that you like. If I saw that guitar on a website, I'd be like, who would buy that ugly thing? You know, I really go in there. Just because you don't necessarily like the shape of the body, you might be really surprised at what that guitar, what it'll bring out on you. You might just go, I can't live without it. And then you look at it and go, I don't care if it's purple with yellow polka dots. I like it. You know, I got a yellow Kramer. It's banana yellow. It's so loud it smacks you in the face. Don't care. That guitar plays nice. And my black Kramer with it's like teal. I'm going to say teal polka dots. It's strange looking, but that's okay. It's a great guitar. But that's not a guitar that I would purchase. If I just saw that, I wouldn't think about it. But I started going into guitar places, picking up instruments that I would normally not play. And it has opened up a whole new world of sounds. Sometimes you just pick up a guitar and it pushes you towards a different genre. And it's the sound, it's the feel, there's so many things. The looks, the sound, the feel, the feedback the instrument gives you. If that instrument's doing that, and it's something that you're having fun with, odds are that's a guitar that you're bonding with, and you should probably get it. Because you may pick up another one just like it, and it just doesn't give you that feel. I know it's about, spending money. I get it, it's money. But just keep in mind, when you get that feeling and you put that thing back up on the rack, the next one may not be that way. The thing you got to decide is, do I have the money? Do I not have the money? Is this something that I've been looking for? Is it a feeling or a style of music I want to play? You get my point. Just don't think that they're all going to play the same, because I do a lot of reviews, and I keep that in mind when I do the reviews. Just because this one plays awesome doesn't mean the next one will. I said this before, I think a lot of the live stream content now is so big because we've lost the interaction we used to get going to the guitar store, hanging out in the guitar store, talking about guitars, talking about amplifiers. What happened to the day, like local bands used to rent? We used to rent, it was a place in Strasbourg, the Strasbourg Theater. There was 3 bands. We rented the Strasbourg Theater because it was an old abandoned theater. It wasn't open anymore. It wasn't getting any rent. We rented it for 2 nights every week. and 3 bands. We all chipped in, paid the rent, and it was, I don't know, probably 200 or 300 seats. Probably more than that, because there was probably 50 rows of seats as rows go up like a stadium. You know, it was a big stage. You had the curtain behind you, and it taught you so much. It taught you feedback. It taught how the room acoustics work, how to make your mixer work, because it was so large you had to have a PA system, just like when you went out and played. All those things, when the next band would come in, or the other guitar players learned this song, or they played over here, you had that interaction in the band room with other bands because you were all splitting the rent. We don't really have that anymore. I can't think of any place local to me that does that anymore. Now we have Starbucks. I don't really think that we could all get together in Starbucks and start jamming out. It would be cool if we could, but that just doesn't exist. I think the next stage, I think if someone started a business like that, I don't know if rural areas could, I don't know if you could survive in a rural area, but in the area that I live in, Northern Virginia, I guarantee you, if someone started a cafe music store slash we rent guitar, areas out for band practice, maybe underneath, I don't know how you'd make it work, but I guarantee you it would be a hit. And I think a lot of Guitar Center's failure is they're not pushing what they should be pushing. Sweetwater's got the internet. Let them have it. Why try to build a website up? What Sweetwater has is brick and mortar stores. Okay? They need to concentrate on that brick and mortar store and get it interactive. Get the musicians in there. However way you do it, whether it's just interaction, change the way the store's set up, let more bands come in. There was I don't know how big it was. How many people have ever heard of Mars Music? And I'll wait a couple seconds because I know there's a huge delay. Does anyone know or ever heard of Mars Music? And I'll look in the chat. I'm not seeing anyone saying Mars Music. Okay, Mars Music in the day, they were past huge. When everyone has probably heard of Walmart, a Walmart Supercenter, or if you live in the north, a Meijer Supercenter. Imagine a guitar store, a music store, the size of a Walmart Supercenter. That was Mars. When you walked in, there was a full stage, like concert stage, in the middle of the store with seating. And the music store went around the concert stage. They had bands that came in to the music store and they would play concerts in the music store. There was one in Sterling, Virginia. Why Mars failed? Well, when you got a store that big, you got to sell a lot of stuff. And they ended up owing Fender, Gibson, all of these companies just a tremendous amount of money. They were selling products and not paying back to their vendors. They ended up going out of business. I don't know how many Mars locations they were. I do know there were more Mars than just the one in DC. But it changed everything. And I was around some pretty popular stores. We had Venomans in DC. And Venomans was one of those music stores. If you were playing the Cap Center or the Nissan Pavilion or something like that, they were playing on Saturday night. You can guarantee if you went to Venomans Music midday Saturday or Friday, you were going to see that professional band there. Whether it was Scorpions, whether it was Aerosmith, Def Leppard, it didn't matter. If you went to that music store, that band was going to be coming in there because Venomans was the hangout spot. There were sofas. It just looked like an old mom and pop store, stuff thrown all over the place, been in business for years. They had crammed so much product in this store, it was crazy. very much like Washington Music Center. Some of the guys up there, there's an older fellow that does the sales that everyone, if you know this area and you're in the music scene, you know the fellow. I can't think of his name right now. Been there for years. He actually sold me my Kramer Assault with the Floyd Rose. That's the gentleman that's. I didn't even know it at the time because he aged so much. And I was watching a YouTube video on it, and I'm like, holy mackerel, it is that guy. I forget his name, but he's been there for years. Really big in the music scene. But those places are gone now, guys. I think that's why the live stream now is that. And I'm not going to argue because I'm doing the live stream, but I think we're missing that interaction that we used to get at the music store, or when people used to do what we called cruise the strip in our cars. There would be hangout spots. You'd pull into the cruise and, we did what we did. But everyone got to talk, hang out, and have fun. Maybe this is maybe just the new version of it. Who knows? I'll go back and read the chat again. Yep. Kurt says he's heard of Mars Music. So I don't know. Are you in Northern Virginia? Because I know they had more than one location. The one that I'm familiar with was in Springfield. Believe it or not, I got a squirrel brain, but in my little squirrel brain, I want to say it was only 4 or 5 blocks away from where Venomans was back in the day. I'm not overly sure, but I'm thinking that in DC, if you're familiar with the inside the Beltway, we call it. If you know the Beltway and you know every road, if you wait 2 years and you go back down, you'll be lost. The roads in the area change that quickly down there. So if you're from 10 or 15 years ago, you wouldn't even know where you were. There's so much tear it down, replace it, road change, building changes. It's constant. Rebuild, 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 change.
Jedi said he wants to travel to the Sweetwater campus with $2,000 in his pocket. It's a life goal.
Traveling to Sweetwater with $2,000 in my pocket. Well, Jedi, I did that, and I not being nosy, you can tell me that's none of my business. Do you have a significant other that will be traveling with you to the Sweetwater campus? Because if you do, you're in luck. Because they've got a spa, a hair salon, a massage place. Everything's upstairs that you can keep the significant other busy if she's not into music. Just saying. And there's a full medical staff on site in case something happens. You might go in and look at a Gibson Murphy Lab guitar at $10,000 and have a heart attack. And then they got to send the people from upstairs down, but they're only about 400 foot away. So if you go into sticker shock or convulsions or something, there's a full medical staff on site. I'm just saying that you don't have to worry about the Gibson prices won't kill you there, or at least they'll give you some adrenaline to get you over it. But once you go there, Jedi, it is phenomenally big. Each section is probably going to be the same size as your local music store. Like they've got a piano section. The piano room is going to be as big as your local music store. Then they're going to have an amp room for basses, an amp room for the guitar. Then they had a live sound room. Then they had a recording area. The guitar section, I don't remember it being as big as the concert piano area section. I think that room was the biggest because, baby grand pianos are quite large. So if you have 20 baby grand pianos, you pretty much know the size of just that one room just for the pianos. That's not counting the keyboard section. There was a whole nother room for keyboards, synths, modulators. What I found interesting when I was there was the recording area with all the recording equipment, microphones, stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. I liked the bass section where they had the basses. I thought that was really cool. The guitar room was cool. And then outside of all that, there's a huge hallway. And it's as large as your music store too, just the connecting hallway between all the shops. There's, I guess, kiosks, I guess is the best way to put it, little kiosks. And there's salesmen there. And they also have their pedal assembly that sets out from the guitar room. That thing's probably 60 foot long. Just the guitar, it's like little individual stands with headphones that you can just grab a guitar, you plug into it, you can check out pedals, and there's like racks of pedals that you can demo and try. That whole section's probably 25 foot by 60 foot long. That's just pedals. Pedals and demo section. It's crazy how much stuff is there. And since you're devoting so much energy to trying out all this stuff, they have a full food court. You can go get some refreshments, eat, and then sit in there's a eating area and stuff like that. When we went, it was during Gear Fest. And no, I was not invited to Gear Fest. We just got lucky. And I ended up meeting Philip McKnight there. Got a picture with him. Of course, got to wave to Mike, that Baker or whatever it is guy. The dude that yells at the microphone all the time in the camera. That's Something Studios with the wild hair. He was there. That HP 42, I think he's from the UK or something. He was there. I didn't go over. You know, I saw there was groups of people in the lobby sitting down eating. Every YouTube channel imaginable was there that week, and we just happened to stumble in that week during Gear Fest. So I was pretty fortunate to get to meet some of those guys, and you know, just luck of the draw. And to be honest with you, I was oblivious. I was doing, you know, I had my horse blinders on. The only thing I could see was direct in front of me. Linnell actually tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, isn't that guy you watch on YouTube?" And I'm like, "Oh, it is." So it was pretty cool. And then once I started talking to him and he said something, I scanned the room and I noticed how many content creators were actually there, and they were there all week. So when you go up, you're gonna have a blast. That's a cool place. Trust me, it's a cool place. Go back to the chat. Yeah, he's saying Mars Music had 49 stores in 20 states. He lives in Michigan. Yeah, I didn't know they had that many stores. Yeah, Jedi, I expect a full report upon you returning from the Walmart Super Center of Guitars, which is better known as Sweetwater. A full report. We may have to figure out how to get the live stream to do dual cameras and have you come on and talk about that. That would be cool. We were actually talking about going back up this summer again. Well, we'll have to see how finances work. For me, it's about a 11-hour drive.
Yeah.
About 11-hour drive. Probably 12 hours since I like to stop a lot and get snacks, and you know, you like to make little pit stops. It's not fun if you got to drive 11 straight hours. So probably with pit stops and stuff, probably do it in 12, 13 hours. Yeah, I'd be all about that. Like I said, on the very first stream, I talked about there was a channel that was doing live stream, and I don't know how he was doing it. Somehow he was having people come into the live stream and talk, and you could see their face and you could hear them, and they were able to interact in with the live stream. I would really like that to take place, because a lot of the conversations in the chat on the right hand side I can't necessarily follow with because I'm talking, and it's very distracting. I see the screen shifting, but I can't track with all the conversations.
Jedi said a Zoom call and OBS.
Zoom call and OBS. See, you're more up on the high tech stuff than I am. I will have to research that. Like I said, it was over all the stuff going on in New Jersey, the drones and stuff, and he was having eyewitnesses and stuff really chime right in on the live stream, and you could talk to them, and I thought it was cool. So we definitely want to do that in the future. That is a stepping stone. Like I said, I'm just happy that I got the microphone and the camera working. Baby steps. And I'm going back and making sure I'm not missing anything too important in the chat. I want to make sure, and if I've missed anybody that's typed out something, and I think this is pretty standard on YouTube, if you guys have a question directly related to me, you want to ask me something, I guess we could do like all other YouTube channels do. Why try to reinvent the wheel? Just put a bunch of question marks in front of your question. That way it'll flag something for Linnell if she sees it. Maybe at the beginning, 5 or 6 question marks, and then we know that it's something that you're wanting to ask me or Linnell. That should be pretty simple. And I think that's something that most YouTube channels do to accentuate a question. So unless someone has a better idea, the people in the chat can make the rule up now. We can follow that for the future. But if that sounds like a good idea, we can use the question mark thing. Jerry says cool. So I guess Jerry's on board with the question mark thing.
No, I think he was talking to Jedi. They both live in Florida.
Oh, okay.
Pay Linnell in cash.
Okay, I'm not up on the pay Linnell and cash thing.
I think it's because you were saying about they could ask me, or if I see the question marks.
Oh, okay. She gets it. I'm kind of behind on what's going on.
That's funny.
She says that's funny. Like I said, we've got to talk her into setting up a little chair out here, and she can. Once I figure out how to get the multiple camera thing going, with the live stream deck, if you didn't join in earlier, we do have this little guy. So once I actually figure out how to get that working, in OBS, supposedly I can hit a button and it'll automatically fade to another camera, or change microphones, or evidently you can do a lot of different things with it. I just need to learn how to do it. So once we move forward on some of that stuff, we can get some more stuff working, And looking at the chat, so Jedi says Zoom calls and OBS. So I need to actually make a list of all the info that you guys are giving me to really help me out. I hear her chuckling, so someone said something.
Jerry said maybe she needs to renegotiate her contract.
Oh, she does okay. Don't let her play the I don't get anything card. She does okay. Believe me, you should see. Now this is going to sound so bad, but it's not bad. Everyone's into certain things. Do you want to know what Linnell's into? Kitchen appliances. Guys, if it's a high-tech blender or a smoothie contraption or this or you ever seen a high-tech pressure cooker? It's got all the push buttons. She's got a pressure cooker. You got to be a rocket scientist to figure out how to use the darn thing. I don't know, but I know it makes really good food. But she's into cooking. Granted, I'm getting a belly because of the cooking, but she likes kitchen stuff. I got an air fryer, dual bay air fryer. Like one side does one thing. Oh my gosh. So she's really into the whole kitchen thing. Oh, that reminds me. Went out, bought a new refrigerator. Okay. There were certain things we had to have. This refrigerator had to make ice, yes, but it had to make the round ball ice. It had to make the round balls. She got it. Now this one's got the little ice thingy in the door with the water, and that does crush or cubed. But then it also makes the little round ball ice in the bottom drawer. So she got her fancy refrigerator. It's got the sliding drawers and all that. Again, another high. It beeps at you and tells you when you need to change the water filter or the air carbon filter and all these other things. And it sends messages to her phone. Oh, you know what? Her washer and dryer sends messages to her phone too. Went to Lowe's and she goes, look, it sends notifications. So we'll be sitting in the kitchen and the phone gets a notification. The washing machine needs to be cleaned. It's a washing machine. Shouldn't the washing machine be clean? It washed your clothes, right? So you're putting detergent in the washing machine to wash your clothes. How can the washing machine get dirty? But no, this thing sends you a message, says it's time to clean me. So she gets what she wants. In her case, it's usually just some kind of high-tech appliance. That, and she's into knitting.
Crocheting.
Oh, she just corrected me. It's crocheting.
I want to learn how to knit.
Yeah, she's going to learn how to knit. Right now, she's crocheting a blanket. So she's got her hobbies too. So she does okay. Hey, Jerry's got, that's right, Jerry. It's called an Instapot. That's what that thing is.
Yeah.
That thing is awesome.
She also said you didn't buy the one that does the laundry by itself, and you want another guitar.
No, they had the one where you put the clothes in the washer. It washes them, then drains it, and then turns into a dryer. And I saw that thing, and I'm like, you know what? Mixing water with a 240 volt element dryer all in the same package just didn't seem like a very smart decision. So yeah, it's two separate units. Those things might be safe. I don't know. Well, they got to be, I guess, safe.
It's one unit.
Yeah, it's just one unit. It's a washer and a dryer. We didn't get that one. Now, we did see them, but that thing scared me. You get a 240 volt element in there that's turning on, and that drum was just full of water. So I guess they work, but no, it's a separate washer and dryer. Now, the dryer talks to her too, and it sings when it's done. It plays like music. It's pretty crazy. But Jerry's got an Instapot. Yeah, she says they're awesome. I had the old pressure cookers. So she kept saying about this Instapot. And I'm like, well, I like a pressure cooker. And I think she was trying to tell me it was a pressure cooker, but my little squirrel brain didn't understand. So she gets this thing and brings it home. I'm like, oh, it's like a pressure cooker. And she's like, well, yeah, it's what it is. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I love it. It's cool. An Instapot. And I'm reading the chat again. Oh, Jenna, like I said, I can't. She's now. Don't get me wrong. This guy right here, I like to cook, and Linnell will tell you what I cook usually is pretty good. I'm a pretty good cook, and I do love cooking. The drawback is I get up very early. And then I drive an hour and a half to work. And then by the time I'm working, I drive an hour and a half home. Most of the time, I'm pretty wiped out when I get home. So she does most of the cooking now. But I still like to cook. I'll do big casseroles and stuff like that. So I'm one of those guys that like to cook. Don't let me just talk about her appliances. There was a lot of things that was like, oh, that would be cool. Yeah, we need to get that because I like cooking too. It's not just her. We're meant for one another. She's into music. I mean, she's got one of the Firefly Les Paul guitars. She doesn't really play anymore, but she's got a guitar. This one pedal that I showed earlier, this is her guitar pedal. So we're two peas in a pod. We really are. We're meant to be together.
Oh, Jedi has a pellet smoker. I'm jealous.
Oh, she said she's jealous. Jedi's got a pellet smoker. What was that smoker that you saw that you liked? We just looked at them about a month ago. Some kind of high-tech skillet smoker thingy. I can't think of the name of it, but it was like $1,000 for this thing. I think it was at Lowe's. Blackstone or something.
Yeah.
I think it was a Blackstone. It had like a griddle and a smoker, and it would rotate and do all this wild stuff. So our barbecue grill on the outside of the house is getting a little long in the tooth. So we may end up getting a new smoker cooker next year. We'll have to see. If I can get another year out of my unit that I have, we might try to skate by. And Bryce has chimed in. Now, this was something a while back in the chat. I asked what SBS stood for. And he said that Steve Brown Sound, I think is, yeah, it's Steve Brown. Like I said, I'm up for any review, guys. It just comes down to funds. That's really what it's about. I don't want to become the Firefly channel. And I think there was a couple of people made comments and some of you're becoming the Firefly King. It's not necessarily Firefly King. It become what instrument am I getting the most success buying on average? Okay, like I tried Leo James, and they were hit and miss. They really were. And I need to keep the guitar budget at a cap. Something that the channel can afford to get to do a review that's a good quality, that's going to be available for the masses. And the Firefly seemed to hit that. But I've also hit other reviews, more expensive guitars. We went over it earlier. You know, some Jackson, well, not Jackson. It was a couple of expensive Kramers, a really expensive Ibanez, the Epiphone Alex license model, the Dean. We've put some mid-price guitars in there. The issue is I can buy one $1,200 Epiphone Alex license model. I can eat that, okay? And I picked that one because that was one that I thought I'd want to keep, and I have kept it. When I want to review a guitar, it's really hard to spend $1,200 on a guitar for a review and then try to find someone to buy it. That's where the subscribers come in. If they purchase the guitar from me, you know, I'm not going to damage the guitar. It's actually going to be better after it's reviewed, because if I disassemble the guitar, any issues that I found during the review, I fix. If the neck's a little wacky or it needs a shim to get the action just right, I go through the guitar. So as long as I can resell it, that opens up more doors for the future on the next guitars. So, you were saying something?
Yeah. Joe Christopherson wants to know if you've ever reviewed a Zager guitar.
I have not reviewed, Joe, I have not reviewed a Zager. We've only done, I'm trying to think, one or two acoustics on this channel. I think we've done 2 hollow bodies on the channel. I could be wrong on that. I don't know if Zager, I think Zager's more known for acoustics, if I remember correctly. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know what the price point of Zagers are. I can only tell you what I've heard from people that I know that play, just people that I know, and then of course YouTube. I've never really heard anything bad about Zager. The only thing I've heard about, well, I won't say it's negative. The only criticism that I've heard with Zager was they don't really specify where the guitar is being made, that it's kind of vague, on the construction, whether they're sourcing parts or whether it is made here or it's not made here. That's the only thing that I've heard that's kind of questionable, is they're vague on that.
Curtain Scale wants, he said Wolf/AIO guitars, are they any good?
I've heard good things about AOI. So this is how I understand AOI operates.
AIO.
Or AIO. AIO would be like me. Okay? AIO orders guitars made in China. Okay? They're made to their spec. They're sent over here. Then they open it up and they fine tune the guitar. They make sure all the frets are right. They make sure all the wiring is right. And they set the guitar up to the way you want it set. From what I understand, that it's a lot of value. A lot of times with our budget guitars, what the guitar is lacking is on the back end, the human part of the guitar. How well were the frets actually finished? Was it just a fast job? Was the quality check done right? Or all the solder joints right? Basically what I do in the review, I go through the guitar, see how it's made. So they're receiving the guitar, unboxing it, double checking everything, fixing anything they find, and setting it up to your spec and then sending it to you. So if you go to their website, you'll see you can request this action height, or an average intonation tune, or intonation set to the 12th, and they're going to set the guitar up. I haven't reviewed one of their guitars, but I think they're about $150 more than your average budget guitar. So if you look at it, if you bought the guitar and then had to pay someone to set the guitar up and do that work, I think it's a good buy. If you can get an AOI for $400, and it's very similar to, let's say, this Firefly that I just did the review on, and you're calling in for that setup, and it's set up to your spec, and they're guaranteeing that there's no issues or blemishes on the guitar, I think that's a win.
Jedi has to go. He's got to get ready to stream later.
Oh, okay, Jedi. You doing did you say stream?
Yeah, he's going to get ready to stream later.
All right, well, if I'm still up, Jedi, and I get the notification, I'll be there. I don't even know what time it is. It's 10:12, so it depends on how long you are, but I'll try to get there. But that's my understanding, and thanks. And like I said, Jedi, send me an email, and we'll get together on the Blue Wrench thing and doing some other stuff. But that's how I understand AIO works. So I think if you're getting that, then yes. Well, I mean, let's face it, guys. We've gotten so used to looking for that $200 holy grail guitar. Think of what it takes for you to put food on your table and make a living and pay your bills. Now look at your guitar, and whether you're a carpenter or a craftsman or not, think about the amount of labor that goes in that guitar. We ask for a lot for $200, $300, $400. So if you're getting a guitar that's been looked over and they're guaranteeing it, I think if you're under the $500 price point, that's a good buy. It is. Unless it's got really bad pickups and you're having to modify it, I think anything under $400 with what they're offering would be a good buy. I think if you cross the we'll say 450, 500. If you cross the 450, 500 line, that's where you can get into buying a very nice guitar used. And right now the market is flooded, guys. When COVID happened, these companies just ramped up production. Why do you think Fender is doing so many sales right now? They've got product stacked on top of product, stacked up on top of product. This isn't going to last forever. Now's the time to buy these. Fender just announced on their Ultra Americans, which is their stupid high-end grade guitars, $500 off. Why? They're not selling. I can go to Reverb right now. I can find a $1,600 Jackson on sale for $1,000. I can go to the outlet and I might even be able to find a B stock of that Jackson for $750. There's just so much product. It is a time to buy. So if you're at the $500 range with an AIO, I would seriously consider looking at Sweetwater, looking at their closeouts, looking at Reverb or Gear Exchange, and seeing what you can get in mint condition used. Because you're going to end up with a guitar with, it may already have Seymour Duncans or Fishman pickups in it. It may already have hip shot tuners on it. Where all you got to do is get that guitar, put your favorite strings on it, and give it your setup that you like, whatever action height. And you've got a $1,200 guitar for $550 or $600. That's mint. So will that continue? I don't know if it's going to continue, but I think if you cross that $450 range, that kind of puts you in a market where you can get these guitars on sale. I'm going to show you one. I showed it in the last stream. Fender announced this guitar at Christmas at $329. This guitar for $329 is a stupid deal. The tuners are great on this guitar. The pickups sound good. It plays good. It's just a really nice guitar. And I like the color. Nothing wrong with it. String through, hardtail. And if you know the channel, you know my issue with Strats is the volume knob. So the volume knob here is set up like a Telecaster. So odds are this is going to be a keeper for me. It kind of sounds like a Tele and a Strat all mixed together without the volume knob problem. $329. I would buy this guitar if this is the style guitar you're looking for. If you're looking for this style guitar versus a $350 or $300 AIO, buy this one. It's a name brand. Squier is a name brand. It's Fender. Buy this guitar over the. It's not just because it's a name brand. Name recognition. If you buy it and decide you don't like it, this guitar is going to have a better resale value than the AIO. And if you know you like it, then don't worry about it. But at that price point, you can't go wrong with this guitar. This is almost like at Firefly by the time you pay shipping. If that Firefly needs tuning keys or pickups, it's almost, because you're going to, like, let's say their LP model or their Strat models now are like $230. $30 shipping, that puts you at $260. Well, hip shot tuners that I showed you on that other guitar, they're $70 just for the tuners. Well, that puts you right up at this guitar. Now, this guitar doesn't have hip shot tuners, but the tuners are okay. You don't have to change them. Let's say you get a guitar and the pickups are a little weak or they're noisy, or I'm going to swap the pickups. A good set of pickups, even if you go on Amazon, I showed it the other week, the brand that I seem to be using on budget builds, they're $80 for two of them. That's still putting you at the $320 range. And then you have to do the work. I'm not saying there's fun hot rodding guitars. My point is, if you're looking at purchasing a guitar, really do your research. The budget guitars are cool, you know, but right now there's a lot of product out there that you can get that's nice. You can get this one. I can go to Dylan Talks Tone and I can get his hand-wound pickups. If I put those pickups in this guitar, it would be as good as a $2,000 Fender. This thing plays sweet. I like the pickup configuration. I'm really thinking about just biting the bullet and getting Dylan's. He has a Nashville Telly set that will fit in this. I think it's like $200. So I would have $530 in this guitar. I know I could go to the music store. I'm going to pick up any Ultra Fender, and it's not going to outplay this guitar. It's not going to sound, this guitar is going to sound as good or better with the Dylan pickups in it. If I wanted to go crazy, I could put some real Fender tuning pegs on it, but I don't think you have to because these feel very smooth. That's all I would do. That's all I would do. I'm going to read the chat here and see who agrees with me on that or who disagrees with me on it. And I can't say a word. I just showed a Firefly, an FFM-N, that I completely reworked. The goal in that guitar was not to spend more than I paid for the guitar. The guitar was $229. I bought $229 worth of upgrades. Now, it still has the factory pickups. Yes, that guitar is phenomenal. It plays awesome.
Jerry wants to know on that guitar, does tone go to both pickups?
On the tone. To my knowledge, Jerry, it does. Because when I change it, it makes a sound difference. Okay? You could go to Squire. The three-way switch isn't a three-way as well. It's actually a five-way switch. So your first position is bridge, then bridge center, then center, bridge neck, and then neck. And the tone does work on every pickup. They only have it in two colors. I'm telling you, that was one of the guitars I thought I wanted. I had watched a couple YouTube videos, and everyone was complaining that the frets felt scratchy or this or that on it. And I was just going to order one from Sweetwater. And then I do want to support my local music store. I like being able to go down there and hang out. I've known those guys. Well, I knew the original owner. And the original owner's nephews have taken over the store. They're great guys down there. Shenandoah Music, they're just good people down there. They actually do care about their customers. They spend time with new people. They know their older customers. They get to know you. It's nice when you walk in a store. You don't need to explain what you're looking for. They already kind of know what I like and what I'm looking for in my temperament, if that makes any sense. That means they're paying attention. That means they're good retailers, and I think they're good. But I gave them the money. Okay, I could have got it at Sweetwater, but I knew they were a Squire Fender dealer. Went down, exact same price. Support my local store. So if you can find one, I think they're great. And get caught up on the chat.
You've been going almost 3.5 hours.
I bought that purple LP you reviewed a while back from Firefly. Has not been able to be the best budget guitar I've ever bought. Yeah, the manufacturer that does the Fireflies in the ash body with the sandblasted top, the Firefly LP and the Strat, both of those guitars were sent out to channel subscribers. Both of those guitars played amazingly, and both of them had really, really good fretwork on it. Now, Firefly has 3 different vendors that they're sourcing guitars from. That particular vendor, everyone that I've received from them has been spot on. They make the access cut ones. There's another model they make. I'd have to get on their site. I can recognize it. They have a new vendor that's making this guitar. I don't think it's the same vendor, the one I just reviewed, that's making the rounded horn LP. I believe that vendor's doing a good job too. So they're definitely getting better. And I've also seen Firefly's prices are going up. But I don't think they've went up to the point where they've outpaced the improvements that they've done. I do wish Firefly would go back to just the chamfered frets. I am a chamfered fret fan. I get it. The rounded ball end fret's cool. I just think that if you live in a climate where you've got a large humidity change and large temperature change, the ball end frets are going to cause you issues. Unless you spend the extra time to really make sure all those frets are down seated properly across the neck, they like to hang up strings. And I know Firefly did that as an upgrade. I get it. I think it does take more time to do the frets that way. The drawback is you can have hang-ups with the strings with the ball end frets because it catches underneath. They have made the fret longer to where it goes all the way to the edge of the neck. When they first started, the frets were short, so you're losing part of your neck. But I think they've got it figured out now. Just make sure they're all tapped down. But yeah, those particular guitars that they were making, the purple ones, they made it in black too. Just next level guitars. They really were. And I'll go back to the chat here. And then curtain scale, all my guitars and basses, high end. Finally got a Firefly LP and it's not bad for the price. I was told Wolf IO was a step up from the Firefly. Yeah, like I said before, it's a step up. Yeah, they're getting it's the same imported guitar. They're just going through the guitar before it gets sent to you and set up. I was just making the comparison. If you're spending the money, if you're in the $400 or $500 range for their product, that kind of opens a very large window. And don't forget nowadays with I forget what Sweetwater's called. It's Gear Exchange and Reverb. You got 35-day window. Guitar Center, you got 35-day window. If you go buy on their site, you can get your money back. With Guitar Center, you can order it. You don't like it, just return it back to any Guitar Center, no questions asked. I think if you look at the used market, you might get something that you normally might not have been able to afford, or a model that was out of your price range that now is. I was trying to go to Guitar Center's website at least once a week and scroll through, because it does change quite a bit. And you'd be surprised what actually comes up for sale on there at like really good prices, especially the guitars. Cabinets, 4-speaker cabinets, there is no resale value on those whatsoever. So if you're thinking about buying new speakers, I know that was a conversation earlier, buying new speakers for one of your amplifiers, and they're $180, don't. Find out what cabinets have those speakers in it, and find it online. Find it at your local Guitar Center, find it on Reverb, and go to it. They don't want to ship them, and no one wants them anymore. So you can buy the cabinet for $350, $400. You've got 4 speakers and the cabinet. You're going to pay $200 just for one driver. If you've got a 212 and you got another cabinet over here, or maybe you want to do some blending, or maybe you just play ungodly loud and you blow speakers. You buy 4 of them in the cabinet, gut it, throw the cabinet away. You've got extra drivers. You can turn around and put the drivers on Reverb for $80 a piece, or locally. And then you end up spending no money for the speaker, because these 4-speaker cabinets just really don't have much of a resale value right now. So that's a really economical way to maybe get some creambacks or some V30 Celestions or some Eminence or JBLs or Jensen drivers, whatever driver that you want. Try to find it in a 4-speaker cabinet. Like I said, it's a cabinet, so they're not going to ship it. You're going to have to go get it. I picked up this Pinna cabinet super cheap. Got lucky locally. I'm not going to say how cheap I bought it, but it was stupid cheap. I can't buy one speaker for what I paid for the whole cabinet.
Jerry says, any dealings with Philadelphia Luthier Tools?
Philadelphia Luthier Tools. I have not, Jerry. there's a gentleman, Skyscraper. It's a guy just in his basement making tools. I've got a couple of his tools. He has a website, Skyscraper Guitars. And at one time he was selling on Amazon. I don't know if he still is. I got some of his tools. I got the Fret Guru. I don't know, remember who makes the Fret Guru. Then I've got a new nut filing kit that I picked up about a year or so ago. It's not the SNUMAC one. It's a different one. I really like it because I'm getting older and I'm having a hard time holding the real thin end on the files. And it has a beefier end at the top. It's like a yellow, looks like a big triangle with the file on the bottom. Really nice. I forget who the manufacturer was. I have that. And of course I got some SNUMAC stuff. The advantage to the SNUMAC is, as long as you own it and you've registered it, they will replace it. It doesn't matter how old it gets. When it fails and breaks, SNUMAC will replace it. You really can't beat that. I love my Fret Guru file, but I've had it probably 3 years now, and I can see in the teeth of the file that it's not going to last like my SNUMAC files did. It doesn't have that kind of warranty. I will have to buy another file. And that file was 50 or 60 bucks. The SNUMAC Z files, probably a little more, but when my Z files die, I just call them, send it back to them, and they send me another file. So keep that in mind. SNUMAC's not cheap, and some of these other companies aren't cheap, but look at the warranty. You know, look at what you're getting. When you're working on your guitar, I will say the Fret Guru file that I use, it is the most forgiving file. It's really hard to mess up a fret with that file. Unlike the SNUMAC Z file, it's putting more pressure. You got to roll the file through. If you don't do that and you're not flipping between files, you can really start to pyramid shape your frets. It gives the guitar a very aggressive feel. It's less smooth. If you like a more smoother feel on the neck, you want almost like an ellipse. You want most of that curve at the beginning, and then you want it to slowly taper across the top. You don't want much of a radius on the top of the fret. So a light radius and then ellipse down. You do want to ease the lower corner for your bends, but the very top should be almost flat. Put a little arch in it, and that'll give the guitar a very smooth, very played in feel. And I'm going back to the chat, see what's going on. Yeah, Joe says he just recently bought an LTD 1000 for $663. Yeah, when you get into that, you can really quickly, like my FFM here, if like I said, I got about $550 in it, parts, guitar, shipping. It still has the factory pickups in it. Now, the pickups I like JBs. So if I put JBs in it, that's another $200. That puts me at the $730 range on a Firefly. Would the LTD be set up just to my liking? Probably not. The LTD probably doesn't have the Seymour Duncans in it. But it's not going to have cheap pickups in it. The next thing is, also, the LTD, I don't have over 80 hours of labor redoing the frets, gutting all the electronics. Plus, if you don't have the tools, you don't have a soldering iron, you don't have all the specialty tools that I have, it makes it hard to do all these modifications and changes, and then time. So when you figure your time is valuable, just like my time is valuable. Weigh it out. When I showed everyone my Fender FMT. I didn't want to touch that guitar. I went into Shenandoah Music. I said, I want this guitar. and I want you guys to set it up. How much are you going to charge me for that guitar with a nice case and a full detailed setup? And they looked at me and said, well, you do that. I'm like, I don't want to mess with it. Sometimes it's nice just to buy a guitar and have it just the way you want it. That Fender FMT has Seymour Duncan pearly gates in it. It's got coil splits. It's a rosewood fingerboard. It's bound. It's got the Fender locking tuners on it. It's a set neck, fixed bridge. It checked all the boxes on what I was looking for. Now I needed a good case. They went out, they showed me this nice tweed case that was custom made. It was a Fender case for that guitar. So that's the case. Now I want you guys to set it up. This is the action height I want. I want it to be harmonic. That's the only place I will let the service guy there I trust. I'm a technician. That guy that works there is very good. He come out, he talked to me, and he goes, yeah, it'll take me about a week. So I paid the extra. Sometimes there's something to be said, like on the LTD for $6 something. You just buy it and play it. And I get the whole thing with AIO is they're taking their imported guitar. When you order it, how do you want it set up? They're taking that import, unboxing it, checking it all, setting it up to your specification, and sending it to you. The reason I'm not going to say it's the best deal, I don't know. I haven't reviewed one of their guitars. I don't know how the pickups sound. I don't know how they set up a guitar, because the person that actually touches the frets can really make a big difference on how that guitar feels in your hands. It does make a difference, guys. So if they have a good tech there, and he's used to doing, and he understands, what you're listing that you want, odds are you might get a good guitar. You should get a good guitar because they're checking everything. That's what they're advertising anyway. So maybe the channel should do one of their Wolf guitars and see what it's all about. Maybe I should call them and do some kind of crazy specification on the setup and actually see if they set it up that way. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Bryce wants to know if you thought about using Discord for your streaming, for your step.
I did Discord for another hobby that I once had was helicopters. I'm a big drone pilot, if you want to call them drones. I don't call a helicopter a drone because pretty much anyone can fly a drone. It has 4 props. It self-stabilizes. Push the sticks up and it'll hover. RC helicopters, on the other hand, they're basically big flying lawnmowers that kill you if they hit you. And I haven't flown since one of my good friends did die of a helicopter accident. And I haven't really flown too much since his death. I'm going to put it in that exact same category, if that makes sense. Discord, I was on there for the helicopters. I guess we could do that. I'm trying to keep the chat, like we started OBS. So I don't know if you could do OBS with the Discord. I think Jedi Jingle Master said something about doing multiple things. So we might have to look at that. I don't really know. But I have used Discord. I just haven't been on it in years since I haven't been flying RC helicopters. I do have a Discord on my computer. I just haven't been on it in many, many years. It's been a while. Yeah, Jerry, I'm big into the RC scene too. If you watch my videos, sometimes you get a glimpse of my 720 helicopter that's up in the living room above, up on the wall. It's very rare that it shows up, but in some of the videos you can actually see it sitting up there.
Bryce wants to know if you ever got his email.
Yes, I did. And I talked about it with the lady. I just haven't gotten to calling you, Bryce. I do plan on calling you, and I'm definitely interested in it. Today I spent literally pretty much all day just working on getting this stuff set up. And then last week I worked, and by the time I got home and I edited the video, that pretty much took my evenings. So I haven't had much time to really get back to you on it. But yeah, I'll give you a call tomorrow. I'm pretty sure he put his phone number in there too, right?
Yeah, it's still me.
Yeah, your phone number's in the email, so I'll give you a call tomorrow. I don't remember what time zone you're in, if you're East Coast or Central, but I'll wait till at least like 1 o'clock my time. I'm on the East Coast before I call you, if that's okay. And I was supposed to get a hold, Smoothie Buns was supposed to get a hold of me too, and I haven't heard from Smoothie Buns yet. So I'm waiting from an email from Smoothie Buns.
No, it's 20 minutes to 11.
Okay, guys, I think we're going to pretty much end it right here. It's been fun, but this has been a very, very, very long live stream. I think, was it 3 hours?
No, like 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5 hours. So we're doing pretty good, guys. So next week, we're going to fix the video part. We're going to get the whole video on the whole screen. Knock on wood. Pray I can get that part done. And try to get a different camera angle and some other things. So I appreciate everyone that, climbed in. I hope you all enjoyed the chat. I noticed it was really moving pretty quick, so there was a lot of conversations going on. If I missed anything that someone typed in, it's not that I'm ignoring you. Maybe it went by too quick, or it's got by Linnell and she didn't see it either. We're going to work on that as well and try to get everyone's questions answered if it was a question. Hopefully it was just you guys talking amongst yourselves. That's what the chat's there for. But if you haven't already, hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel and you're just sitting back watching, think about subscribing. We're trying to do something different here, something a little more open and honest than what I see on YouTube. Something more user-friendly. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you sometime next week with another video, and we'll be live with the chat again next Saturday. Thanks, guys. And now with OBS, I got to figure out how to turn the actual live stream off. Bye.